So the number is big, Rauf. Is it the normal number, 1300 plus? मतलब या exception number है ये? It's a quite big number, really.
This is इंटरनल ऑडिट में हमारे पास लास्ट टाइम भी ऐसे ही था मीन साहब, और उसमें से होता ये है कि यू विल सी इन द बिगिनिंग विल नॉट हैव अ सिग्निफिकेंट नंबर, विल रीच 150 एंड देन विल मूव टुवर्ड्स हायर नंबर, और फिर हम टुवर्ड्स द एंड वी आल्सो अगेन हैव अ लोअर नंबर, बट it last year also we had a very good number in last webinar, first webinar we have had a good number. हमारे पास participation अच्छी थी, live भी Facebook पर भी, और फिर बाद में जो people who have watched it on Facebook later on, that was a good number too. Armughan, I think we should start.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I welcome you, all of you, to the second webinar of Transforming Internal Audit in the Age of Digitalization. My name is Armughan Kausar. We have this webinar, just to give you a brief to everyone. We'll start off with the name of Allah, the recitation from Holy Quran, and the flow of the program would be, there'll be opening remarks by Hina Usmani, and then we'll have the success story from Mr. Amin Rajput. Then we'll have the presentation on tools and techniques, followed up by panel discussions. And as in when we find time, we'll take question and answers. You can put your question and answers in the chat box. There's a team which will be moderating that and putting it up for panel's discussion. And then we'll conclude it by closing remarks by Mr. Tahir. Some of the basic housekeeping rules for the day is if someone drops off, either me, so I will be replaced by Rauf Ali Jan. If any other panelist drops off, we'll move accordingly, we'll switch over. But the idea is to continue the program per the schedule. And if you have any connectivity issue, again, there will be replacements and inshallah we'll work it through. Because in technology, you can, there is a lot of dependency on technology, and hopefully inshallah everything works out to the plan. So I'll start the proceedings. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Kul huwallahu ahad, Allahus samad, lam yalid walam yulad walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Sadaqallahul azim. So as part of the first item, I would like to welcome and introduce Ms. Hina Usmani for the webinar. Ms. Hina does not need any introduction. She is the founding member and managing partner of Hina Usmani and Associates, the all-women association, Chartered Accountant Association. She has got 28 years plus experience. She's the first woman council member and first woman vice president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. And currently she chairs the Internal Audit Practices Development Committee, under which guidance this webinar is being held. With that, I hand it over to Ms. Hina for the introductory remarks. Over to you, Hina.
Thank you very much, Armughan, and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to the second webinar titled Transforming Internal Audit in the Age of Digitalization under the Future is Now series, presented by the Internal Audit Practicing Development Committee of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. IAPTC as a committee is taking many measures to deliver you with IA insights through these webinars in order to impart relevant knowledge on the subject and apprise our members of latest developments happening globally. At the same time as other prominent measures, we will soon bring short certification programs as well as local industry specific guidance for our members. We are also publishing our first bulletin named IA Focus, which will be shared on quarterly basis. Today's topic has gained quite a bit of attention in recent years. We have seen that the acceleration of digitalization in businesses is transforming internal audit at a rapid phase. We are internal auditors need to evaluate how these changes in technology and the business environment are affecting organizations and how to beneficially harness and leverage the opportunities generated by digitalization. I would appreciate the efforts of all the committee and the team led by Armughan Kausar for organizing this webinar. I am quite hopeful this webinar will be quite valuable and will benefit our members. Thank you very much once again, and I hope you all benefit from this webinar conducted by IPDC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hina, for your opening comments. I would now like to introduce Mr. Amin Rajput to the webinar. Mr. Amin Rajput is a chartered accountant and is currently acting as a deputy managing director CFO at SUI Southern Gas Company. He joined SSGC in 2012 as the chief internal auditor, and then moved to DMD/CFO position, and also has the privilege of being the acting managing director for a couple of years. So mashallah, great success story, and something we as a profession we can be very proud of. Prior to that, Mr. Rajput had had overseas experience in Middle East. He was the chief internal auditor of K Electric, as well as group director of Dewan Mushtaq Group. Mr. Amin, over to you for your experience and your insights into internal auditing.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Ramadan, Ms. Hina, and the committee, ICAP Committee of Internal Audit, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share my journey with my fellow colleagues and young professionals, to highlight the importance of internal audit in career growth, which is the profession which is really underrated generally, but I would try in my next 15 to 20 minutes to share the importance of this particular profession, that how it really helps you to to improve your skills, and then you can go to the main business consulting job, and then you go to the main business stream. My name is Amin Rajput. I did my chartered accountancy back in '95 from KPMG Karachi office, and after briefly working with the Standard Chartered Bank and in the MCB Bank in the internal audit department, I moved to Caterpillar in Saudi Arabia in their internal audit department in the middle management, and later moved to become the finance manager with Caterpillar. Just to share that even though my initial job in internal audit was a circumstantial job while I was looking for the job change from profession to industry, but then later I realized that it is an excellent induction mode of entering into any organization. Because when you join in accountancy or finance profession or a treasury, you are confined, limited to that area. While internal audit gives you an excellent opportunity to understand end-to-end business and to improve and brush your number of skills like analytical skill, interpersonal leadership skills. It gives you a complete overview of the organization, particularly from the risk, control, and governance perspective. And I have seen in my experience that internal audit gives you an excellent opportunity in a very at a very early stage to interact with the senior management. So this is how internal audit helped myself, and I motivate the young professionals to really look forward for internal audit as a profession which can improve your career growth in the organization. Internal audit is a constantly evolving profession, in respect of the methodologies, standards, tools, techniques, and I would really encourage professionals that to pursue the related qualifications as well, like CIA, CSA, and others. Myself, despite being the professional accountant, I'm also a Six Sigma Black Belt. While I was with Caterpillar, I also pursued the certification of Six Sigma Black Belt. It really helped me to, not only in the profession of internal audit, but when I came to the main business stream, it helped me to how to improve my the processes. So my message is that it should be very clear to IE professionals that while performing internal audit, whenever there is an opportunity in the organization, the young professional should keep in mind that while you're working internal audit, and there is an opportunity in the organization, you're the best suited to move out of IA and grow in a main business stream with its finance and operations. And I strongly believe that the learning and grooming internal audit really helped me and can help others to better perform in finance and operations, particularly from the risk, control, and governance perspective, which really helped me in finance and as well as in the operations. I moved to, while I was in Caterpillar, I also, from internal audit, I moved to finance, and particularly in Sri Southern Gas, which is a public sector utility company, which is serving a big area of 2 provinces with 3 million customers. While I was chief internal auditor, and there was an opportunity in finance, and I through a process, it was a process through which the external candidates were also there. But while I was working in the organization, I had definitely much more experience and knowledge about the organization, and it helped me to move out of internal audit to become the CFO. And later, when there was an opportunity, I was given the opportunity to become acting managing director. I worked almost 3 years as acting managing director. And so the learning from the internal audit, particularly, again, I would emphasize from the controls, governance, and risk perspective, that helped me to, in the mainstream, because being the managing director of a utility company, which is a public sector, there are so many stakeholders, because and you have strict deadlines to deliver. You are 24/7 employee. But then the training which I got from internal audit while I was there, and particularly from the discipline of controls and governance, helped me to work in the business, in the main business stream, and deliver as good as the others are working, whether they're coming from any other profession. So, to conclude my talk, the takeaway for this discussion for young professionals and for internal audit professionals, that adopt the internal audit as a profession by choice. Don't just take it as a not getting opportunity in finance and accounts, we generally chartered accountants do. Take it as a profession by choice and improve your skills, particularly from the risk control and governance perspective, and then grow within IA and then in the main business stream. And I believe me, these learning will help you in your discipline and in the career growth. So Magan, over to you. This was a brief I tried to share with the audience. And if there are any questions or if there are any further, I am available. And I will.
Yeah, I think that very informative, Amin Saab, and mashallah, what a glowing, positive trajectory career you have had. And I picked up on a couple of things from your page. A, where you kind of, whilst you were working, you enhanced your skill set through Sigma certifications. And I see a lot of similarity in today's world, especially in today's time and age, where we have got disruptors around us. Fintechs are a lot of people who are disrupting the existing model, be it are internally in the organization or externally. तो उसमें जो internal audit का एक mindset होता है, जैसे आपने बताया कि चीजों को analyze करना, process efficiencies देखना, and with the right skill set, trying to challenge that these are not the best possible measures. These are the improvements which can be made. These are the cost savings which can be made. So with that, I have very close, thinking to what you've said, that this allows you to get to that, mashallah, MD or CEO position, to look at things very objectively, and of the stakeholder management suite, which you are happily managing, mashallah, for your 3-year stint. So I think it's a great learning for any people who want to go in this profession, mainly internal auditing, and make a future and use it as a pedestal for further growth. So I'm truly amazed by this, again, the perspective which comes from from having the internal auditing viewpoint. I don't know whether you have any specific examples, if you can highlight, which you were able to leverage and bring them out to the board as well as management from your existing IA auditing skills.
Yeah, 2 things. You see, I would also give a message that those who are in internal audit profession, despite their chartered accountants, they should go for the specialized certifications. The internal audit has their own international standards for the professional practice of internal audit, which will help you to really, because internal audit is different from the external audit. So that will help you. And secondly, as I emphasize on the risk and control, I saw the people who are coming from other professions, they are more of just going to deliver in an environment where they are not concerned about much about the controls and risks. Internal auditor has a mindset and understanding. So, in public sector, particularly when working with a utility company where we are, serving 3 million customers, we are serving power sector, we are serving industry, the whole, Karachi's industry. So there are a lot of times come when you really have to take a decision where you have to put on side the disciplines of from the risk point of view that you have to deliver. But that mindset and that trainings give you, the consequences. Internal audit, because of the training, they know whenever they make a report, they know objectives, they know scope, they know deliverables, they know the conclusions, they know the recommendations. So internal auditor from a very start know what will be the consequence if I just, go on deliverables and I forget the risk and controls and governance issue. So I think that's a training which helped me, and I'm sure it would help other internal professionals, that they have a far-sighted and very experience which they can see that if I just go on a short-term solution, what it will be a problem for me and how it will help me if I follow the basic rules of the risk and control.
Thank you, Amin Saab. Amin Saab, on your Sigma Black Belt, there's a lot of interest in the audiences, right? तो कुछ बताएं इनको कि क्या कैसे होता है, and how can others, what would be your guiding thought on that one?
See, when I was working with Caterpillar in Saudi and with the Middle East, there was the Six Sigma Sigma is a standard deviation, So Sigma can only be 6 when there is just 3.4 defects in a million opportunity or a million transactions. So almost an ideal environment. It's basically a process improvement methodology. Mostly engineers do it. But as I said, and I gave a message to my young professionals and fellow members that, we need to improve our skills wherever we get the opportunity. So while I was working with Caterpillar, I got the opportunity and I went for it. Well, it's quite an expensive training which was done by Master Black Belts, because Master Black Belts are the mathematicians, but Six Sigma Black Belts are the problem solvers. So, it helps you to improve your skills, particularly your analytical skills, because like you take projects in the organization and break them into elements and then improve their Sigma level. I have seen a number of processes where the Sigma level is just 0.2, 0.3, and then you improve the Sigma level and bring it to a certain level which is acceptable to the organization. So it is improving the process and improving the Sigma level. For example, you have a benchmark, and against the benchmark, you calculate the standard deviation, and then you have a deadline of bringing it to certain level, and then by certain processes, you will bring it. So Black Belt in the organization have a role of a problem solver who lead the methodology, and then he has the expertise as a contributors and as a small team who will be working along with him. It is good from the consultants' perspective, since internal auditors are the in-house consultants. So it really helped me a lot in improving number of processes wherever I got the opportunity in number of organizations.
So, mashallah, this means a very important point for all our colleagues and fellow colleagues to continuously evolve, while mixing mathematicians' inputs, engineering inputs into accountants' mindset into an organization. No wonder that gives you a perspective, and that gives you a really hardcore C-suite perspective. So great with that. The other point, Saab, I would just like to ask, in the interest of time, working in a public sector entity, which is utility company, and mashallah, you have had multiple roles in there, right? The topmost role as well as auditing role. And you mentioned a bit about ये जरूरी नहीं कि सिर्फ प्रोसेस पे रिव्यू करो, रिस्क को समझो, कंट्रोल्स को समझो, रिस्क कैसे चेंज हो रहे हैं, कैसे तब्दील हो रहे हैं, उनको समझने की बहुत जरूरत है. So in this, especially in a public sector environment, mashallah, what is the recipe of progressing, going further? What is the doctor's order here for our colleagues who are listening to this?
Yeah, public sector it's a different world, I would say, compared to the private sector. But I think the professionals should, apart from the environment issues and some regulatory issues are there in the public sector, but you know, by working in public sector, you really pay back to the society a lot. Because there is a lot of socio-economic agenda when you work with the public sector apart from the commercial interest. So it's a quite a challenge working with them. But you know, by the time I have seen इस वक्त की अगर आप देखें organizations like PSO, PPL, OGDC, these are giant organizations. Energy sector में public sector का बड़ा role है because they are the policy making bodies, चाहे वो cabinet committee of energy हो, चाहे economic coordination committee हो. So the recipe is to you know, as I said, we during chartered accountancy and during our professional growth, हम इतने माशाल्लाह groom हो जाते हैं कि you know, company like Swiss Southern, which is a purely technical company, because we are selling a product which only measured, you can't see it, it's a gas or electricity. और हमारे professionals जो हैं इस वक्त के इलेक्ट्रिक के जो CEO हैं, he is also a chartered accountant. Myself, Swiss Southern में senior position पे हूँ. I have seen in other organizations. So public sector is not unlikely private sector, but ये है कि you know, we are so much groomed and we are so much, alhamdulillah, हमारी skills इतनी improved होती हैं, we can adjust ourselves. So internal audit हो or chartered accountancy हो, delivering on time, we are used to, you know, work 24/7. That's the recipe actually that you are available to all your stakeholders. Public sector में होता है कि stakeholders बहुत हैं, whether it is, you know, Islamabad, ministry, government, senators, MPAs, MNAs, Sindh government, Balochistan government. So, but what I love really to deliver in this environment where I said there's a lot of socio-economic agenda. You're paying back to the society, you're paying back to the nation, and you're working a lot for the national interest. So, public sector में commercial के साथ there's a lot of national interest subject is there, and I think I'm sure all of us have an inner feeling कि हम कभी हमें opportunity मिली to work for the nation. So public sector is a place where really we can deliver for the nation.
Thank you, Amin Saab. I think giving it back to the society, country, is something which is very core to the DNA of the institute we represent. And the institute which has enabled us, mashallah, this opportunity and enabled us as professionals to see that big picture, jiski aap baat kar rahe hain na, stakeholder management ki, and that mindset. I think that's very important for all of us collectively. So thank you very much, Amin Saab. I am sure you are around us for the panel discussions. So we'll leverage that opportunity as well. So thanks a lot for your thoughts on how, what have been your learning lessons in your so far, mashallah, very successful career, and for others to see how internal audit has contributed to it, and how your personal ambition also of further refining yourself, enabling yourself has also helped. So it's a two-way journey. Thank you very much, Amin Saab.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Amin Saab.
So with that, we move on to our next agenda item, which is about provision of technical expertise. As part of a standard, webinar agenda, what we do is we provide technical support, which is around transforming IE in the age of digitalization and special data analytics, toolkit guidance will be provided by Rauf Ali Jan. Rauf is again a chartered accountant. He's got extensive experience of working in Canada, overseas. He's now back in Pakistan, working in HBL. He leads the audit transformation team. So very relevant experience, and someone who is going to talk about real life, actual examples, not just the theory part of it. So we're glad to have Rauf today with us today. So Rauf, over to you.
Thank you, Armughan. Hope you are able to clearly hear me. Are you able to see my screen as well? Is it visible? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Armughan. Thank you very much, and very warm welcome to all the participants. Without further ado, let's jump into what we'll be talking about today. As the topic today is transforming internal audit in the age of digitalization, let's focus on what it means. Digitalization can take many shapes and forms, such as automation of certain audit procedures. You can talk about digital evidence keeping, where we keep all the audit evidence, documentation requirements. Automated tracking of issues has also been part of the digitalization. However, some of the important things in the past have significantly impacted accountants, and the inclusion of automation is in the form of business process reengineering and the evidence retention. Most of the large organizations have started using audit softwares. However, there can be other things such as continuous risk assessment we can focus on, as the emerging risks are coming every now and then. Instead of doing the annual risk-based audit plan, we can focus on continuous risk assessment. Risk scorecards is another part for automated reporting. But today, the topic on digitalization we'll be talking about is more on data analytics. This is not something which we all are doing for the first time. We have done it in the past as part of doing some reasonableness variation, which we used to do in, which we still do in auditing, but we will be talking more in a very detailed oriented environment, that what data analytics means for the organization and how we can use it to identify unbiased results out of it. So let me just first explain to you what does data analytics and visualization mean. I'll not go in a lot of detail in this slide because it's a theoretical example, but if you look at the first one, it says is a process of inspecting, cleaning or cleansing, transforming and modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information, suggesting conclusion and supporting decision making. This definition covers everything what we have to know about data analytics. It is an 8-step process, which we'll see in next few slides, that how we have to gather the information, how do we have to cleanse it, how we have to transform it, model it in a manner that it is useful for everyone. There are some benefits of using the data analytics as well. One of the benefits is data visualization. If you look at the data visualization, you see a lot of numbers, Excel sheets, big Excel sheets, but when you put it in the visualization format, you really get the benefit out of it. So what are the data analytics benefits specifically for internal audit? If we talk about benefits, one of the main benefits, and we all deal with this as an internal auditor, is that when we find an exception and we go to when we go to auditee, we always face challenges that this is one-off instance, this has only happened once, or there is subjectivity involved. With data analytics, one of the main benefit is that we don't have to worry about the subjectivity part, because it is based on the data which is coming from the system, which is owned by the custodian from IT department or from the auditee perspective. So there is no subjectivity involved. We can talk about how did we manipulate that data, how did we visualize that data, but in no way, shape or manner we can talk about the subjectivity of data. If the data is coming out of the system, it is accurate. We can talk about how did we manipulate it, how did we adjust it. The other benefit, one of the important thing of data analytics, is population and not sampling. You know, we have always talked about in the past that we select the sample of the population and we do some calculations on that. What happens with that is, if we are doing the non-statistical sampling, or we are doing some sampling where we'll be extrapolating the output, it always comes to the level that, okay, what assumptions are you using? If you're using some assumptions which are creating or which are making it difficult to extrapolate, sometimes it's difficult that we will get the output for the whole population, and it will be difficult to justify in front of auditee again. But with data analytics, we don't have to pick the samples. All the information which we have, it's only the multiplication impact, because if you are running data analytics on a sample, you can run the data analytics on population as well. And population, once you are doing it on population, you don't have to extrapolate. You will exactly find out the error rate. We'll see all these things in the example, which we'll be covering later in later part of this presentation. Third one is predictive modeling. This is very important. What we do is, sometimes data analytics is very easy to do, where we do same to same, CNIC to CNIC match, or where we are identifying exact numbers of variations. But when you talk about predictive modeling, when you talk about something where you can use fuzzy logic, where the answer is not matching 100%, but it is matching 70% or 80% of the time, then it gives you the idea that you don't have to focus on 100% of the things. Once you get the information out of it, you can still probe, you can still inquire, you can still get the evidence from the auditee, get the evidence from independent sources to make sure that what you are selecting, what you are picking up is legitimate. So predictive modeling, especially in the form of fuzzy logics, helps us a lot. We'll also see how does this predictive modeling work in the next few slides as well. Understand the market condition. As I was talking about on the previous slide, that we are facing a lot of emerging risks. We are in an environment where things are changing all the time. Data analytics helps us in understanding the trends. It helps us understanding the economic conditions. It helps us understanding what is going on in the industry. We can give you the example of aviation industry. Since the pandemic has hit, you can see that a lot of aviation industry players are facing some significant issues. When we were doing some audits, external audit back 10 years ago or 8 years ago, when we used to do audits of aviation industry, it was very easy to identify the data analytics on per seat revenue, that which areas are giving us the highest number of revenue or highest number of profits per seat, which gives you the idea that these are the profitable routes and you should focus on more on these areas. In the same manner, when you do run the market conditions analysis, you will be able to identify from internal audit perspective that these are the areas where we are earning the good money or where we are making losses. So why are we spending more and more time on this when we are making losses out of it? The number 5 benefit which we are talking about is efficiency and productivity gain. In efficiency and productivity gain, we can talk about that the productivity of the example which we'll do today. There are a couple of examples, one from manufacturing industry and one from financial services industry. We'll do is talking about productivity. If we talk about financial services industry, you can say that if some of the ATMs are down or some of the branches are seeing a lot of footprints, a lot of footfall on those branches, you can identify that, okay, these branches are processing 100 cases per branch person, per teller per day. So what does that mean? That we have to either bring some efficiencies in those branches, or we need to improve the manpower over there so that we can serve the client better. So these type of things can give you the idea from data analytics, which are not too difficult to run. This is also one of the driver of innovation and product development. From our perspective, from internal audit perspective, this is one of the things that we can focus on and add value with this innovation. We have to be thinking proactively and identifying the areas where we can talk about in the internal audit. Okay, these are some of the types of data analytics. As I was telling you, this is not the first time we are doing data analytics. We all have done descriptive analytics in the past. We all identify the trends, like what is happening when we go for internal audit. We identify, okay, this is the revenue which we are generating. What has changed from last year to this year? This is the client which was paying us this much of money. What has happened? Does this client has gone up, grown with us, or is it difficult for us, or the day sales outstanding, or some of the ratios which we calculate are the descriptive analytics, which tells us that, okay, this client is either going in the right direction or we should be cautious about this client. The second one is diagnostic analytics. This is the one where we do the correlation of a couple of things. Like I was giving you the example of losses, or I was giving you the example of footfall. When we know that in some of the areas where we are giving huge discount or additional discounts to some of the customers, is this making sense to our overall branding of the company? I'll give you the example from the internal audit perspective. When you talk about that, I'm making I'm giving some benefit to the customers, such as I'm giving them, instead of 30 days of day sales or receivable money, I'm giving someone 60 days of receivable money. When you correlate it with the finance cost, which is sitting somewhere else, you will identify whether actually we are making money on this customer or not. Number 3 is the predictive analytics. On the left side, at the bottom, you see predictive analytics is the one where we have to do a lot of data mining. We'll have to do some predictive modeling based on the past historical data. We have all talked about IFRS 9, where we'll be doing the expected credit loss calculation based on the models which we have identified, based on the data from different customer streams, stage 1, stage 2 streams which we have. And we'll be estimating how much of this money we'll be receiving from those customer stratification. Consumer data, house loan, auto loan, small and medium enterprises. Predictive analytics is pretty difficult to do, and especially with lack of data or with not very clean data, it's very difficult that we'll be able to get a lot of things out of it. So companies which are which are striving for the analytics right now are in the diagnostic analytics stage, at least in Pakistan. And we are seeing a lot of companies are focusing now to go towards the predictive analytics, where they want to identify the areas where, based on past or historical trends, they can justify or they can identify where we see some forecast happening in the future, which we can identify. Prescriptive analytics is something which is very difficult to do, and you have to use artificial intelligence or some of the diagnostic and predictive analytics, or combination of predictive analytics to identify prescriptive analytics, such as you have seen Amazon and Google. What they do is they identify predictive analytics. Like if you go to Amazon's website, or you go to daraz.pk, once you click on it, they will tell you that, okay, if you have bought a cell phone from there, you will be able to, you should buy a pouch or couch with that. And along with that, it gives you a lot of ideas that similar things have been bought by some other people like this. If you combine all these things, and if you combine all the predictive analytics which they are providing, and do some AI, they will be able to tell you that, okay, if you have bought something in the past, this is the time that you should be buying insurance or things like that. So these are different types of data analytics which we'll be using. Some of the data analytics tool I would like to talk about. This is the slide full of words, so I'll just use the ones which are in red, starting from number 9, Microsoft Excel. We all have used Microsoft Excel. If you don't have a lot of data available, you can use data analytics from Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel recently have up to 1 million rows, where you can, up to 1 million rows, you can use Microsoft Excel to do the calculation, but sometimes it freezes. So 100, 200,000 or up to 500,000, you can use pivot tables, pivot charts based on the power of your laptop. And it has a pretty good filters available. It has a pretty good different options available, which helps you in doing data analytics in Microsoft Excel as well, but at a very diagnostic level or even descriptive level. Once you want to move above and beyond 1 million rows, there are a couple of very good data visualization, data analytics tools available, such as Power BI, Tableau, and ClickView. These are one level up, where you'll be able to use. Power BI is a Microsoft product again, so and Tableau and ClickView are very good for the visualization perspective. If you use these tools, they will help you in understanding or in coming up with something very good visually, and you will be able to run the analytics on millions of rows at a time, with thousands of fields at a time. These are some of the tools which are not very difficult to learn as well. Actually, ICAP has conducted some master classes on Power BI. I have seen some very good courses going on, so it's not that difficult to learn. The last one is programming language, R and Python. These are some of the languages which helps in machine learning, which helps in identifying the areas where we can do the prescriptive or predictive analytics. And these are the languages you'll have to understand, and you have to have a little bit of statistical or mathematical background to run some correlations and regressions on these things. Moving on to data analytics 8-step processes, and this is the step which I was talking about, and this is what I would like every one of you to take away from today's discussion. These are the steps which we follow when we want to perform data analytics. These look very simple, but when you spend a little bit of time in each one of them and you understand what are you doing, if you are doing a complex data analytics, each one of them becomes very complex and very cumbersome to perform. First one is data requirement gathering. As an internal auditor, you will be identifying risks in this area. You will be identifying what are the tests you would like to perform. As an internal auditor, you have to have a very clear picture of this, because if you miss something in this stage, you'll have to go back, and you reach stage 5 or stage 6 period, you're actually doing the interpretation. You'll have to go back to this stage and then again require the information and inquire the business user, what are you looking for. After data requirement gathering, once you have all the data, what do you want to do? What is the main purpose of this analysis? What will be the outcome you are expecting? That is the most important thing, that this is the outcome which you will be expecting. And the more precise, more accurate it is, the better it is for you in stage 4 and 5 when you'll be doing coding and data analysis. Data collection, because once you identify the data requirements, you have to collect the data. Sometimes the data is very easy to obtain if you are just running one ERP system, but most of the times you have ERP system Like I was giving you an example for aviation industry. Revenue is coming from financial system, and then the size of the aeroplane comes with a different module where you have to identify that, okay, this aeroplane has these many seats and this is the mileage you are covering. Sometimes you also collect data from secondary sources like publicly available information you use, such as financial statements of a different company or things like that. It's very difficult to obtain the data from different source systems, and especially combine them to, because we are talking about millions of rows, or we are talking about hundreds of fields, to combine them and put them in one place, and identifying the primary key and making logic so that all of them are in the same format. So formatting of the data also happens at the data collection stage. The next one is data cleaning exercise. Cleaning the data is very important. Sometimes the information which we input into the system is very difficult to export or put it in a different environment. I'll give you an example. Sometimes we put postal code, for example, in a different 5 letters number, and sometimes we put, instead of person identification number, sometimes it's CNIC, sometimes it's a passport number. Sometimes people put all 13 digits all together. Sometimes they put dashes or hyphens in between. So you have to make sure all the data which you are gathering follow the same protocols. There are a lot of help available in the data analytics tools I've talked about on the previous page, like Microsoft Excel has trim language, concatenate language, left, right formula, which helps you in doing this. Power BI also have a lot of very useful tools which basically break down the column, and you can identify that, okay, last 2 digits tells you which, or last 5 digits or after comma tells you which city this address is belonging to, or which state is this address coming from. So these type of things help you in data cleaning. Without data cleaning, you'll not be able to do the data analytics, and you'll have to identify a lot of logics in cleaning the data. Actually, if I tell you, number 6 takes the most time and number 3 takes the time after that. Like, data validation is the most important, most critical, or most time consuming area in all 8 of them, but data cleaning takes a lot of time from our perspective as well. Coding is the thing which translates the BRD, the data requirement gathering in the first one, to the data scientist who will be running the query in stage number 5. So this is the person who will be making the pseudocodes. He'll be identifying the data or converting the data requirements into the fields, identifying what you need to do. Moving on, data analysis tools and execution. This is the time when you'll actually run the query. Sometimes the query become very complex and you need to have very strong developer or programmer to run those queries for you. Sometimes queries take, it depends on what kind of data analytics you're performing. It sometimes takes weeks to just create one query. Data validation, as I was telling you, this is one of the most important tasks. This is the time when you remove the false positives. This is the time when you have to see or match the output with the data requirements. Validation sometimes takes 6 or 8 turns when you have to validate data, and you say, oh, you have to remove these false positives, and you go back to data cleaning, you clean the data, you come back, do the coding, do the data analysis, and again, you run the validation. So validation is an iterative cycle which takes a couple of times or more than a couple of times to run. Data interpretation is, again, whatever validation you have done, this is the raw data. Now you have to show it in a manner that everybody understands what are we doing, how should we be targeting those. Data visualization is ultimately the final objective. How do you want to see, how do you want to show it to the people? Data visualization is one of the important tools because this is the outcome which everybody sees. Most of the cases, what we do is we just present the data, but if you really want to make an impact, data visualization has to be very strong, because you can identify very strong areas in this out of this data analytics in data visualization, which nobody may have thought in the data requirement as well, because at the time we are just thinking about one risk, but when the data actually comes out in front of us, we may be thinking more and more about different risks. Just quickly covering about data analytics architect. As I was telling you, bottom line is where the data collection, data integration happens. After the BRD should come below that. And then translation, which is cleaning, processing, preparation, and interpretation happens. This is the stage 3, 4, 5, 6, which starts from cleaning and all the way up to the preparation and interpretation. And step 8 is analysis and visualization, which turns into the output from analysis visualization stage. Now, let's move on to the actual examples. I have a couple of examples, one from manufacturing unit and one from the financial services client. If you're able to see, the first one is step one is data gathering requirement, where we have to do why we are doing this analysis. So if you read the first line, you will be able to understand a manufacturing concern need to know reason for machine downtime other than normal course of business. If machine downtime is an hour a day and you'd like to know what other times or how many times your machines are down in a month or in a day, you'll be able to do those analysis. Further, they need to analyze associated monthly production loss. Once you identify the machine downtime in a day, you'll be able to do that. As I was telling you, for the full population, you'll be able to do it for a month, for a year, and things like that. And the total monthly profit and loss due to downtime. This is very important because if you are able to identify the profit and loss during the downtime, it will make the cost benefit analysis very easy, that we are losing 100,000 rupees an hour of machine downtime. How can we fix it? So this is the analysis. This is the first part, which I've given you the example that you have to identify machine losses. What will you do in the second one is you will identify that, okay, where is this information going to come? This information is going to come from different systems. We have called it XYZ system, and then fields required for day, per hour production, per sale profit, machine up and down time, and reasoning. And you'll have to decide what other sources do you need. All these sources are coming from internal, from different systems. Per sale profit may come from the finance team, and the machine downtime come from the log of the machines which are being calculated. Step 3 is very important. You will have to do some calculation or cleaning the data. So if you read it, I have identified some, hence each hour machine report would be required. Further cleaning would be required, as manufacturing company offer discounted sale price to a few customers, and company also manufacture 2 modified products for which downtime or different reason is very important and acceptable. So we are talking about that. We are able to identify the data, but when you are doing the cleaning, you have to make sure that you are removing all the false positive. In this example, we are talking about there are 2 different modified products, and we have to do the downtime calculation. And you have to take the common and acceptable downtime separately, or you have to remove them just to clean the data. Step number 4 is basically doing some coding, and I have put some words in there from data collected, select field, up and down time, because you'll have a lot of fields available in the system. So I have given actual examples that how will you calculate the data, how will you pull the data. These are the examples, and then what calculations you will do to make sure that data analytics are there. So if you read it, it tells you select field, up and down time, reason, remove narration, normal course. If it is a normal course, you will remove it, taking the false positive out, add new column X, club hours of same downtime reason category for each month. So you will be able to see that what was the downtime for, and this is where the cleaning will come, because you will be able to see that if there are spaces in between, you will be able to remove it, add new column, enter per hour production quantity, add column Z, and then you will be able to identify all the issues. If we continue on page on step 4, this is the full algorithm which you will provide to your coding person, programmer or developer. Based on that, they will be in step 5, they will be able to run or execute the query for you. They can use as in step 2 be identified, we'll be using Power BI in this one. In this example, you will need, as identified in the last 2 lines, this is a complex process where understanding is needed to develop a query using data field taxonomy, which field means what, because sometimes there are hundreds of fields and you have to understand which fields means what. Entity relationship diagram, because if information is coming from different systems, you have to identify which information is linked from where, and you will be able to join and links between tables and integration of data sets, because there may be different data sets. One machine is using another data set, another machine is coming from another factory in some separate city. Number 6 is data validation. Whatever report is generated, the business users will have to go back and identify the reports which they are generating. As I was telling you, data validation takes a couple of circles, couple of iterations, and then you will be able to identify the data interpretation in stage 7, which will tell you exactly what you are looking for. This is the screenshot of sample report which will come. If you see January, February, March, April, you can analyze it based on the reasons for up and down time, and then how many hours monthly. This is definitely the data which we have produced ourselves or obtained it not actual data. We have just made sure that this is visible for you, just to make sure, just for the example. And step 8, you'll be able to see at the bottom some of the charts which we have identified, and you can see that reason for downtown number C reason, which seems like power breakdown, is the most common occurrence, and we are losing a lot of money to that. On the total profit loss yearly, these are some of the charts which we can focus a little bit more on and identify which is causing the most problem for us. And monthly hour of downtime, this is the number of hours which the machine is not working. And these type of visualization and some complex and more advanced level of examples we can use. Quickly covering another example on financial services industry, some of the banks are putting a lot of focus on anti-money laundering, which we are talking about, that if you have to be told that you have to identify all the transactions which are executed by walk-in customers, your CNIC is matching with ATA list, you will obtain ATA list from the fourth schedule, which is available online, and then you will be able to identify all the walk-in customer transactions. Sometimes these transactions are in millions, so you'll have to clean the data, and it will take a little bit of time in stage 3. Stage 4, you will be able to do the same level of coding where you will identify which fields you are looking for. Is it for price bond encashment? Is it for utility bills payment, or cash withdrawal, or cash deposits? And then in stage 5, you will see that your team of data scientists, your team of developers and programmers will be able to run these things for you. In stage 6, you will do the validation to remove all the false positives. If there are some validation issues coming up, you'll have to go back to step 3, and then go from there. And step 7 is interpretation, and step 8, as last time we have shown some charts here, that these are the transactions which you have to avoid. Examples where data analytics can be used. I have given few examples from financial services industry, such as and manufacturing industries. If you are talking about manufacturing industries first, you can see that compare vendor and employee information. You can compare what are we doing with vendors, and if there is any vendor which is also our employee, you can identify those things on population. Analyze employee expense reporting. You can identify through different mechanisms, employee expense reporting, monitor high value inventory items. You can definitely identify what are the high value inventory items, where are they doing, what are their life cycle is, and identify the anomaly there. Analyze journal entry populations. This is a lot of people who have worked on computer assisted audit techniques would understand that journal entries which are processed on the weekends, in the middle of the night, by the user who's not supposed to put it, we are able to identify those with the help of some queries very easily. Compare labor reported of evidence of work. You can identify what was the production during which days, and you can do it on daily basis, monthly basis, weekly basis to identify anomalies and the productivity outcomes. Preventive maintenance, manage supply chain. How do you want to do the preventive maintenance? There are so many things which can identify that machine productivity is going down in this part of the year where your productivity or where your production hours are significant. You can focus on productive maintenance. Similarly, there are examples on financial industries, claim management. When somebody in insurance industry is identifying the claims, you can identify how long this company or this firm have been with us. A lot of insurance companies already do this to identify how much money they are paying to their customers and their suppliers. Better pricing is there, customer complaint management, fraud detection, all these things one by one, you can use them for your own purposes. I think we have a few more minutes, and I can go to Q&A and see if there are questions which we can address.
Rauf, thank you very much for your presentation. I can put up a couple of questions as well जो panel जो लोगों ने पूछे हैं. एक चीज जो रऊफ मैं सिर्फ हाईलाइट करना चाहता हूँ ऑडियंस के लिए, जो आपने बड़ी अच्छी बताई कि it is all about data, right? Big data is the topic जिसको एनालाइज करना है, जिसको अंडरस्टैंड करना है, और जिसकी बेसिस पे हमें इंसाइट्स हासिल करनी है. बट इससे दो सवाल पैदा होते हैं. पहला सवाल ये है कि काम कौन करेगा, राइट? इज इट प्योरली अकाउंटेंट्स, is it engineers? So it throws up a lot of questions which we will also pick up in the panel discussion about the skill sets which we need. ठीक है? to identify the how part. This is only the how part. ठीक है?
बिल्कुल ठीक।
दूसरी बात ये कि ये डेटा आ जाएगा, बहुत अच्छी बात है, but the most important part, the role of, once you have got this good data, the role of the auditor, this is where the critical thinking starts. This is where you start asking कि ये क्यों हो रहा है, डाउन टाइम ये चीज क्यों हो रही है, ये अगर ये चीज रेगुलेटरी नॉन कंप्लायंस हो रही है सर्टेन मैट्रिक की, तो इसकी असल वजह क्या है, asking the why questions, doing the analysis, and probably linking it up with the other data points. So it is an absolutely fascinating area जिसमें मेहनत दरकार है, जिसमें हमें अपने आप को evaluate करना है. So I just wanted to share this thought with the audience because you have done, mashallah, a very explained manner of how this, what it involves actually to do it. So a couple of sawalat hain jo I would just like to highlight for you is the part where people have one of the question is around certain preference of certain tool versus the other. Usme ek sawal hai. If you want to answer that, and secondly a bit about how does this is applicable to processes and many industries or other segments. Yeah.
मैं इसका जवाब देता हूँ। देखिए मोहन, सबसे पहले तो जो टूल की आपने बात की है ना, इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ ये है कि all the tools are available. Microsoft Excel se bhi you can start, Microsoft Power BI is there, Tableau is there, ClickView is there. All these tools are available. Whichever tool you are comfortable with, once you'll start doing it, you'll see कि हाँ मैं भी इससे ये benefit ले सकता हूँ, इससे benefit ले सकता हूँ. In the beginning, if you'll decide कि मैं कौन सा tool लूँ, all the tools are available. They are 70 to 80% similar. Tableau में भी वही features available हैं जो Microsoft Power BI में है. ClickView में भी वही features available हैं. If you want to go to the language, I think before going into Python or R, I think it's preferable that you go with the software which are easier to use, user-friendly, and which provides a good data visualization. Because ultimately, if you go there with the languages, it will be very difficult for you to visualize. दूसरा जो कंपोनेंट अरमगान आप कह रहे थे कि हम किस तरीके से उसको डाटा को यूज कर पाएंगे, वाई पार्ट जो है, देखिए हमें सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ यही है जो मैंने अभी कहा कि आप माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एक्सेल से भी डाटा एनालिटिक्स शुरू कर सकते हैं. And a lot of manufacturing companies may not have the data available to the size of the banks or financial institutions or MNCs जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा डाटा के ऊपर काम कर रही हैं, जिनके पास बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल में डाटा मौजूद है. So if you are starting with thinking, with the right thinking कि हाँ हमें ये चीज़ आइडेंटिफाई करनी है और इसमें ये इशू है, key risk indicators are the starting point. Once you identify KRIs and you say कि हाँ ये key risk indicators हैं, and then we are already identifying it without the data analytics, what can we do with data? जब आपके पास डाटा आना शुरू हो जाएगा, then you can extrapolate it, you can identify and find the ways into those things. So the most important thing is change of mindset, change of thinking. Data आएगा तो हम काम करेंगे, या you have to start working on those areas now and start explaining the data or start exploring the data, which is very important.
A couple of more thoughts from the audience. One is around selling of data sets, right? अगर जो companies buy करती हैं, जैसे आपने example दी, उसके around एक itself what happens to that data, ये सवाल है. थोड़ा सा वो भी साथ साथ बता दें कि risk elements क्या हैं इसके अंदर data privacy से related. और second question है, बड़ा interesting question है इसमें, वो है कि आप basically जब data को contextualize अगर ठीक नहीं करेंगे, और आप it may become a mechanical exercise, जिस तरह की हम भी बात कर रहे थे कि यहाँ से ऑडिटर का काम शुरू होता है, right? So it may not give you the right answers or the right outputs you're looking at. So on these two matters, your thoughts, Rauf?
देखिए बहुत important चीज़ ये है कि you can first you start with your own bucket of things which you have available inside the organization, and then if you are looking for some market research, there are companies which sells the data. Most of the time that is anonymous data. You will not get the name of the customers and all these things, and you can use those things. जैसे अगर गूगल से आप बात करें या फेसबुक से आप बात करें और आप बोलें कि मुझे जो कराची में लोग हैं जिन्होंने हबीब बैंक से बैंकिंग की है, उनको ये मैसेज रन कराना है कि वो जाके daraz.pk से 10% ऑफ ले सकते हैं वेंसडे को. दिस टाइप ऑफ डाटा इज अवेलेबल. लेकिन अगर आप बहुत ज़्यादा स्पेसिफिक जाके बात करते हैं, या वो जो हमारे पास एक डार्क वेब अवेलेबल है जहाँ पे हमें हैक डाटा मिल जाता है, तो there is a lot of cyber security things going on to make sure that doesn't happen. हमारे यहाँ पाकिस्तान में FIA और जो साइबर क्राइम यूनिट्स हैं, दे आर वेरी एग्रेसिवली फॉलोइंग अप के इस तरह की चीज़ें ना हो. स्टेट बैंक हैज़ पुट अ लॉट ऑफ एफर्ट टू मेक श्योर कि डाटा लीकेज कम से कम हो, एंड कंपनीज आर डूइंग द सिमिलर थिंग्स. There is GDPR going on in Europe. Hopefully we'll see similar things in
It's
Pakistan
key.
soon as
What
well.
you're saying, it is key to ensure that data privacy is adhered to. But yes, when you get data from social websites and any company can use it, leverage it, so that's out on public domain. So absolutely fine. जी.
बिल्कुल ठीक हो गया बस. ठीक है अरमान, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Ro, for your excellent insights into this space of very technical space of data analytics. I would now move to our third stage or third agenda item. I'll introduce my panelists today. So Amin Saab, I think he'll continue. He's around. Along with that, the first of our panelists is Umair Ali Bhatti. He is also a chartered accountant, having over 18 years of experience. Have worked with Ferguson's, have worked with EY Bahrain, K Electric, Midas Safety, and House of Habib. He brings along with himself not only audit experience, but diversified experience of working in multiple functions of the organization. So he started his journey from audit. He's went through many functional roles. And now he's again in audit. So he can give us that 360-degree view. And he's heading the audit function of Engro Fertilizers, giving us a very clear, strong industry perspective of a large, industrial concern. Our second panelist is Shahid Rizvi. Shahid Rizvi is CIA of PTCL and Ufone. He has got extensive experience in internal auditing. Along with that, he's been instrumental in launching lots of state-of-the-art 360-degree transformation projects, transformation of IEF function, digitalization, theme-based and visualization, robotic process automation. So a lot of the, the areas which technology companies and telcos are very good at. So we have his company with us today, where Shahid would kind of enlighten us. So again, we have got both representation from public sector, very experienced, top of the pyramid. Amin Saab is here. We have got then Umair, and we have got Shahid. So again, a very well-rounded, panel discussion, inshallah, which I'm looking forward to. So I'll just like to set the stage before I start asking some of the questions and some of the discussion. So while I was thinking about this discussion today, मैंने सोचा कि आज what is that we are talking about here? So let's look back at audit's role. So हमारा role effectively can be summarized in protection of our firms or companies' assets, along with its reputation. Reputation would entail whether it's regulatory, other matters, customer care, all that good stuff. And along with that, the sustainability, resilience of operating procedures, that everything is done to the right standard. So this is a core role. This has been the case in the past, and this will continue to be our role going forward. Now, where are we right now? We are sitting in 2021, which we call the age of digitalization. Or we, even if, whatever the digitalization implication, and let's talk about where we are right now. So we are in some phase of post-COVID journey. Hopefully, and inshallah, it is going to end soon. But there has been a lot of impact, a lot of effect, which we as professionals, our society, our countries, our social lives have gone through in the last more than 1.5 years. So uska impact hai operating models ke upar, uska impact hai the way customers interact, the way our processes have changed, the way digital has basically come to the roots of our organizations. Why? Because it's the right thing to be done. Yes, now it has become hygiene. And third is, if we don't adopt it across the functions, as organizations, as audit functions, probably we will be not part of the future in the same way as we have been part of the past. Secondly, इससे क्या हुआ है? इससे fundamental change हुआ है हमारे risk landscape. Risk of data privacy, risk of cyber, risk of us operating in where we don't know, depending on which economy you're sitting in, which sector you are in, going concern की क्या चीजें हैं, क्या profitability है 12 महीने बाद, 26 महीने बाद, so a lot of questions are out there, which means absolutely change in the risk universe or risk landscape. So if something, if auditors are to be concerned about, very, very, very important times. तीसरी चीज expectations change हो गई हैं. Fundamentally, expectations इसलिए change हो गई है, there is ask for doing more. Whichever function you are representing, especially internal audit, I think it's an inflection point for us कि हम अपने आप को इस opportunity को लें और internal auditing profession को redefine करें for the good, for the better, because regulations change हो चुकी हैं. For example, I represent financial services here today. The regulator, State Bank of Pakistan, is going to be using big data for their future inspections and supervisory reviews. So that's a fundamental shift to where we were even 2 years ago, right? So a lot is changing and a lot is happening. And for us, एक और चीज जो बहुत important है कि national level पे we are seeing our economy getting documented. So further data points are getting generated, right? Further inputs into whether we are manufacturing, whether we are talking about telcos, whether we are talking about banks. And if it was not enough, just think about the disruptors which we have around us. जो existing models को challenge कर रहे हैं, जो fintech companies हैं, जो easy solution provide कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि वो design thinking पे जा रहे हैं. So this is a landscape we are operating in right now. I just wanted to set the stage up for this, so that we are very clear that we are in probably one of the most interesting times recently, and hopefully it will go for the better. But this is where we need to come in as our profession and work it out and make sure our colleagues who are listening to this conversation get a very clear view what is coming their way. What is going to change and what has changed. As Rauf was saying, as Amin Saab was saying, doing a degree and just saying this is my skill, I'm going to do debits and credits or something else, for the future, it has to be a continuous evolution of getting better and using data whilst we go on that journey. So important bit, this is the context, and with that, I would like to open up the discussion. So my first question, I would like to ask from Umair. So Umair, हमने बात की है अभी changing business models की, हमने बात की है जी organizations की strategy change हो रही है. You represent a big organization in Pakistan. So how do you see that this is going to impact your audit strategy, audit planning, so on and so forth? So Umair, over to you.
Thank you, Armughan. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thanks to ICAP and the IAPDC for providing us this opportunity. Armughan, आपने जैसे beginning में कहा platform set किया. These are the times when we are facing a huge transformational change. मैं थोड़ा सा अगर step back करूं और हम ये visualize करें कि किसी भी process में जब एक छोटी सी भी change होती है, let's take an example of order to cash cycle. अगर एक कंपनी सिर्फ कैश में पेमेंट कलेक्ट कर रही थी और आज उसके ओनर ने या उसके फाइनेंस मैनेजर ने डिसाइड किया कि हम चेक से भी पेमेंट कलेक्ट करेंगे, this slight change had resulted in so many challenges with respect to the risks associated with that process, with respect to the controls that were in place. और वो जो एक साल से process चलता आ रहा था, that was basically once changed, that exposed the entire process and the relevant functions to different exposures. Now what we are talking about is a very big transformation, digitalization, the entire operating cycle being transformed. आज से 5 साल पहले the order to cash cycle was very different. What we are seeing it right now. पहले हम जैसे मैंने example दी कि we were just discussing between different types of collection modes, and right now we are talking about different platforms. Manual transactions are
being eliminated. बहुत automated advanced level के digital platforms available हैं, customer के पास online उसका access है, they go there, they place their order, they pay the bills online, they do the online transfers, systems के साथ integrated हैं, and so on and so forth. So जब ये इस तरह के मेगा लेवल पे ऑपरेटिंग साइकिल्स जो हैं, आपकी पूरी ऑपरेटिंग साइकिल ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रही हो, इट कैरीज अ लॉट ऑफ रिस्क विद इटसेल्फ. वी ऑल आर अवेयर कि जितने भी बड़े कॉर्पोरेट चेंज या ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन प्रोजेक्ट्स होते हैं, इसमें फेलियर का रेशो बहुत हाई होता है. बहुत कम लोग इसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं या रियलाइज करते हैं कि मोर देन हाफ of the projects have a tendency of failure या missing their desired objectives. इस situation में you rightly place this question के इस situation में what are the expectations from the internal audit function? हमारे जो key stakeholders हैं, हमारी जो board audit committee है, हमारी जो senior leadership है, they have a very different and very changed sort of expectation from the internal audit function. अमीन साहब ने शुरू में कहा, मुझे बिल्कुल मैं उसको relate कर सकता हूँ कि they treat us as in-house consultants. वो आपसे इस transformational process में जाने से पहले भी consult कर रहे होते हैं, during that process भी consult कर रहे होते हैं, and your stakeholders also expect कि God forbid अगर इस transformation के अंदर कोई risks हैं, तो वो timely, proactively highlight हों इन्हीं in-house consultants की वजह से. Because देखें एक बहुत strong जो हमारी responsibility है, we are treated as the last line of defense. ठीक है? So we have that responsibility as well. We are also acting as an in-house consultant, and we are also treated and consulted as a process champion. तो वो सारी expectations हैं. Now, how to address this? In my view, if we club them into some broad headings, the first and most important thing which I would highlight is the capacity building of our internal audit functions with respect to the teams and with respect to the resources and tools, like Rauf also highlighted. Adequate team, adequately qualified, adequately experienced teams होनी चाहिए with considering आपकी organization और आपकी organization किस phase से pass on कर रही है. Then the next thing is a dynamic risk assessment process. Gone are those days के हम एक risk assessment करते थे one off, फिर 1-2 साल उसी को फिर हम चला रहे होते थे. In these days, things are moving very fast. As you rightly said, we have a lot of emerging risks. We have a very rapidly changing scenarios. जिसके मुताबिक we have to continuously review our risk assessment and highlight which areas to focus on. इसी में से फिर एक और चीज जो drive होती है, that is our dynamic audit planning. Traditionally we have been doing it for so many years कि हम पूरे साल का audit plan बनाते थे, approve करवाते थे. But I believe the expectation now is to be more dynamic, to be more proactive, to keep on reviewing the emerging risks, to keep on reviewing what the business is doing, where the business is focusing, where the risks are, and plan those things and execute those things in a timely manner. One more aspect जो कि capacity building के साथ ही मैं थोड़ा सा re-emphasize कर दूं, that is the combination of our process auditors with IS audit. You rightly mentioned a lot of digital transformation is going on, और उसमें process audit expertise के साथ we have to build our capacity for IS related auditing. So that is my initial take on.
Thank you, Mayor. आपने बड़े important terms use किया. आपने failure rate 50% बोला. ये globally इससे भी ज़्यादा है, 60-70% है. So absolutely right. In-house consultant is someone you can trust, you can work with, right? And dynamism as to maybe the जिस तरह risk आ रहे हैं, management को भी हमें बताना है और हमें board audit committees and board को ही बताना. This question is very important, so I'm going to pass this question on to now Shahid for his perspective as well. So thanks Umair for your thoughts. जी Shahid.
जी मेरे ख्याल में बड़ी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी हियर एंड गिविंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी. मेरे ख्याल में उमैर ने बड़ी अच्छे तरीके से सारे को समराइज किया है. इट हैज़ बीन अ कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव टॉक. हमें इसको किस तरह से लेके चलना है फ्यूचर में ये अब हमें देखना है. हम कैसे इस कॉल को आंसर करते हैं. हम अपने अंदर भी अपनी टीम्स के अंदर भी जितने स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं उन सबको हमें एजुकेट करना है सबसे पहले तो रिगार्डिंग दिस चैलेंज. अगर हमारा एक छोटा डिपार्टमेंट है थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट हमें अप्रोच लेनी पड़ेगी. अगर बड़ा डिपार्टमेंट है थोड़ा डिफरेंट लेनी पड़ेगी. तो वील बी कंटिन्यूइंग टू डिस्कस ऑल ऑफ दिस ओवर हियर. मसलन हमारा फंक्शन अगर थोड़ा बड़ा है तो आई क्रिएटेड अ सेपरेट डिपार्टमेंट फॉर डीलिंग विद दिस चैलेंजेस. लेकिन सब लोगों के पास ये लग्जरी अवेलेबल नहीं होती. तो इसी तरह से अगर कहीं छोटी ऑडिट टीम्स हैं या उनके पास गवर्नेंस में इतना वो नहीं है, फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी नहीं है, सो दे वुड हैव टू गो डिफरेंट रूट. सो इट्स नॉट अ शॉर्ट टर्म सोल्यूशन. वही बात है, सब बात स्टार्ट होती है सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन की. उमैर साहब ने जो चीज़ें शेयर की हैं दैट इज समथिंग दैट ही एज अ हेड ऑफ इंटरनल ऑडिट रियलाइजेज. and but not necessarily everybody in the board or in the management is on the same pitch. So internal audit को जो आगे चलना है इन challenges को deal करते हुए वो थोड़ा सा both ways देखते हुए करना पड़ेगा. तो एक और सूरत हाल ये हो सकती है कि हम जो skills हैं डिजिटलाइजेशन के हवाले से वो सबसे पहले अपने अंदर यानी जो खुद अपनी सेल्फ लर्निंग है उस पर फोकस करें. वो भी हो सकता है. फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने सबसे पहले स्टार्ट की तो सर्टिफिकेशन मैंने खुद की कुछ डिजिटल साइट की. अब मैं पुश कर रहा हूँ अपने डिपार्टमेंट्स के लिए. फिर बजट्स की बात आती है. सो बहरहाल ये सारा एक ओवरऑल चीज़ है. तो मेरे साहब ने मेरे ख्याल काफी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली इस चीज़ को कवर किया है.
थैंक यू शाहिद. देखें जो आपकी भी वो आगे बात करेंगे डिस्कशन में. ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन टीम है जिस तरह हमने भी यहाँ सेटअप किया बहुत से और फंक्शंस में ये माइंडसेट चेंज आ रहा है. एंड यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. इट्स नॉट वन स्टॉप या शॉर्ट विंडो जिसको हम करें और जल्दी से करके आगे चलें. हमें अपनी लर्निंग करनी है, कैपेसिटाइज करना है, एंड देन वी हैव टू मूव फॉरवर्ड एंड एक्टिंग एज अ ब्रिज between the management as well as the board and the audit committees. तो ठीक है. एक आध क्वेश्चन भी आया था जो मैंने पार्क कर दिया है. वो will pick up later on in terms of where how to demonstrate value and the term which was being used was saved, right? So we'll come to that during our discussion. जी Amin साहब. Yes Amin साहब, your perspective please.
Yeah, Almaghan, actually I have been reading the questions जो initially मेरी talk के बाद जो आए थे. So I will give some very practical sides because I have worked in internal audit briefly with like Standard Chartered Bank in a middle management, then MCB, then I went to Middle East, Caterpillar, came back with a Sage, worked with K Electric, a private utility, then a public sector. So the most important is the expectations. Internal audit expectation क्या है? Positioning is very important. How the top management or the board looking at positioning internal audit in the organization. Then really how much internal auditor or the chief internal auditor knows their own responsibilities and role and objectives and organization में वो किस तरह अपने आप को I would say कि promote करता है कि जो आप मुझसे expectation लगा रहे हैं ये ऐसा नहीं है. मेरा role is very much standardized है, legalized है. ऐसा नहीं है कि कंपनी में कुछ भी हो. In few of the state organizations or I would say not mature organizations में ये होता है कि कुछ भी हो तो जी internal auditor क्या कर रहा था. एक generally एक वो what they were doing. So first of all, I would say the positioning is very important. I have seen even in the one of the best organizations कि deliberately internal auditor को थोड़ा सा weak रखा जाता. Maybe Shahid and Umair and yourself can comment कि are the internal auditors or the chief internal auditor is equivalent to COO and CFO or not, or one step lower. I have worked in organization जहाँ पे कि वो जो top जो decision makers हैं उनमें internal audit को deliberately नहीं रखा जाता they wanted him a little bit weaker, so he cannot raise his voice in front of the top organization decision makers. So it does happen. So वो बड़ा important है कि how chief internal auditor अपने आप को recognize करवाता है from the owners हो या board हो कि जी अगर आप मुझे second tier में रखेंगे तो मैं फिर first tier के सामने कैसे voice raise कर सकूंगा. So as I said, a very classical example, COO, CFO, are CIAs really equivalent to them or they're one step down? So ये बड़ा important. Second ये कि again expectations जब तक हम as I said, we all are the professional accountants and the members of ICAP, but internal audit has their own standards. We should know. That's why if when we really working at the senior level, we must be very much aware with the international standards for the professional practice of internal auditing. So हमें पता होना चाहिए. और इसलिए wherever I have worked, the first thing I did that I made a charter, got it approved from the board, and spread to the whole organization. So कोई कल को अगर आता है जी, okay जी ये हो गया organization में, where were you? ये बड़ा common I faced really, in particularly with the medium-sized organizations. जहाँ पे कि सेठ समझता है कि जी internal auditor आ गया है, अब हर जगह बस. Even believe me, a very good example. The one of the very big group I worked, the सेठ चाहता था मैं pre-audit करूँ, ठीक है? And I said no. And he said यार मैं तुम्हें powerful बनाना चाहता हूँ और तुम खो के यार power को जो है वो you're going away from it. I want everybody to come to you. So I said no. Pre-audit, I can't do the 100% audit. और pre-audit अगर करूँगा तो फिर post-audit क्या करूँगा? So जो standards हैं उन पे clarity होना और उन पे उनको board के level तक acknowledge करवाना is very very important. And then spreading it. Maybe I would say कि annualized basis पे आप अपने charter को वो करते refresh करते रहें, लोगों को उनको भेजते रहें. So they should know who you people are. ताकि एक स्कोप का बड़ा इशू रहता है, ऑब्जेक्टिव्स का बड़ा इशू रहता है, लोगों को रिपोर्टिंग लाइंस का, इंडिपेंडेंस का, ऑब्जेक्टिविटी का.
जी सर, जी अमीन साहब, आई थिंक हाँ चलिए, आई थिंक
एक छोटी सी बात और. सेकंड ये कि एज हम जो बात कर रहे थे स्टेट कल्चर की, तो द पोजीशनिंग ऑफ इंटरनल ऑडिट जो है, वी बीइंग प्रोफेशनल्स, वी आर नॉट लेस देन COOs and CFOs. And as I said myself, I switched from CIA to CFO and then to the managing director. So, so हमें अपनी और मतलब we have to get acknowledged from the organization that we are not less than any other senior position in the organization. That's the मैं जो है ये मेरा एक message है, and as per my experience working with the United.
नहीं अमीन साहब, बिल्कुल टू द पॉइंट है. मैं 2 पॉइंट्स इस पे जरूर दूंगा क्योंकि आई आल्सो सिट ऑन द IEA practices committee. So we are one of the agenda items which we are leading with Hina is around engaging with the regulators, right? कि उनके थ्रू प्रोटेक्शन लाई जाए प्रोफेशन की in terms of auditing and internal auditing. So we are working on that. So inshallah we would the idea is, as you said, to make it at the right playing field. Standards पे भी हम काम कर रहे हैं कि standards को किस तरीके से बेस्ट तरीके से इनको इंडस्ट्रियलाइज किया जाए, relevant बनाया जाए लोगों के लिए, और पूरे internal auditing profession को इसको same page पे लाया जाए. So inshallah we have just started, but I think with the progress of the committee agenda, we would definitely be working towards it. But rightfully so, matters to be addressed and matters to be careful. Just one point. जो वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन है उसमें सिर्फ मेरा एक पॉइंट ये है, मैं सिर्फ डिस्कशन आगे बढ़ाऊंगा, I'll go back to Shahid as well, कि उसमें ये बहुत जरूरी है कि ऑडिटर, CIA, जूनियर, सीनियर is part of the problem, the mentality problem, right, the culture problem. But we also have to look inwardly and ask ourselves whether we are bringing the real value to the table, right? कि अगर कोई एक अच्छी भी एग्जांपल दे दें, कोई भी वैल्यू ऐड दे दें जो हम कर सकते हैं, तो that would also go a long way in bridging that trust gap. So again, I think it's a two-way stream. But thank you very much for your insights. Ji, my next question now is Shahid for you. Sorry, we talked about risks. कि risk landscape change हो रहा है, new ecosystem hai. Again, there is a big role. We've just talked about communication with the management, with the board, and you representing telcos in a way which is kind of, compared to rest of the industry, is pretty cutting edge, right? In terms of digital and in terms of What's your experiences like, and how do you see the profession and internal auditing to get better? If you can share your insights, Shahid.
जी, thank you. आपने बिल्कुल वजह फरमाया. So we are currently operating, as they say, in a VUCA world. यानी volatility couldn't have been more, uncertainty, ambiguity, और ये सब कुछ ऐसी है जो कि आपके किसी भी बिजनेस को बहुत टफ चैलेंज दे रही है. अब 1.5 साल पहले किसी ने सोचा भी नहीं था कि एक पेंडेमिक आएगा और जो दुनिया के बड़े बड़े बिजनेसेस हैं, एयरबीएनबी और पता नहीं क्या क्या, वो धड़ाम से नीचे चले जाएंगे, और जो छोटे छोटे बिजनेसेस हैं वो अचानक ग्रो कर जाएंगे. अभी आप बाहर निकल के देखें तो आपको हर जगह पे फूड पांडा वाले चलते हुए रहे होते हैं, तो बहुत ज्यादा यूज हो रहा है, पहले नहीं हो रहा था. तो इसी तरह से कुछ अचानक प्रोफेशंस ऊपर जा रहे हैं, कुछ नीचे जा रहे हैं. अब 20 साल पहले कोई बी कॉम अनएम्प्लॉयड नहीं होता था, आज आपको बाजू का उससे ज्यादा क्वालिफाइड लोग अनएम्प्लॉयड मिल जाते हैं. तो इट्स अ वुका वर्ल्ड एंड बिजनेसेस आर फेसिंग न्यू चैलेंजेस एवरी डे. अब इसमें हो ये रहा है कि everybody is confused, the world is confusing, so you expect to receive the advice from the board members. Even board members have been used to a different world, and it's changing at a very fast pace. So abhi aap agar so they are also sort of confused, यानी कि नए risks आ रहे हैं. अभी आप top 10 risks last year अगर आप करते हैं तो अभी भी top 10 में cyber security आएगा, बिल्कुल top पे आएगा. साइबर सिक्योरिटी की सबको अंडरस्टैंडिंग है नहीं, अभी और रिस्क आ रहे हैं. मसलन इस साल जब द एबिलिटी टू डिजिटलाइज, ये एक नया रिस्क आ गया. मसलन ये लास्ट ईयर इस तरह से नहीं डिस्कस होता था, ठीक है ना, द एबिलिटी टू डिजिटलाइज, क्योंकि इफ यू हैव टू सर्वाइव देन यू हैव टू डिजिटलाइज. आपने देखा कि कैसे करीम और उबर ने कन्वेंशनल जो टैक्सी ड्राइवर्स हैं उनको बिल्कुल एलिमिनेट करके रख दिया विद इन कपल ऑफ इयर्स. तो इस तरह से the board members are also finding it difficult to actually grasp you know the risks, the changing landscape of risks. और उसमें फिर ये होता है कि मैनेजमेंट का काम तो है एज अ पार्ट ऑफ लेट्स थ्रू अ टूल ऑफ ERM या व्हाटएवर के जी वो उनको adequately educate करें on what are the risks, and but then when they if they educate them very properly, then the other question comes कि जी अच्छा हम इसका कर क्या रहे हैं, how well we are placed you know in terms of dealing these risks with these risks. तो इस एतबार से इंटरनल ऑडिटर एक यूनिक पोजीशन में है जहां पे उसको अपने मसलन ऑडिट कमेटी और बोर्ड को एजुकेट भी करना है रिगार्डिंग दीज रिस्क, और उसको एक बैलेंस्ड व्यू भी देना है. बैलेंस्ड इसलिए मैं कहूँगा कि वो वही बात है, इट्स अ टफ एनवायरनमेंट आउट देयर, और उसमें एक होलिस्टिक पिक्चर उसको देनी चाहिए. मसलन तो हम फॉर एग्जांपल हमारी कोशिश अब ये है कि अगर लेट्स से साइबर सिक्योरिटी है या कोई और मिसाल आप ले लें, डिजास्टर रिकवरी है, कोई इस तरह के रिस्क हैं, उन पे अगर आप पीसफुल मतलब से ऑडिट्स करते हैं, किसी सिस्टम का ऑडिट करते हैं तो पीसफुल इंफॉर्मेशन आती है, ठीक है ना. वो आप मेरे में से टाइम लाइंस ले लेते हैं और वो उसको एड्रेस मसलन करने की बात करते हैं, वो फिर सीन से निकल जाता है. लेकिन कुछ चीजें जो बोर्ड को कंफ्यूज करती है इन टर्म्स ऑफ रिस्क, वो ये होता है कि लेट्स से एक्सेस कंट्रोल्स है, वो एक ऑडिट में आया, अगले ऑडिट में दोबारा आया, फिर उससे अगले ऑडिट में भी आया. अब होता ये है कि कुछ कंट्रोल्स जो हैं वो बियॉन्ड पर्टिकुलर लिमिट वो एलिमिनेट नहीं हो सकते. मतलब साइबर सिक्योरिटी की हम बात करें, अभी रूफ ने बड़ी अच्छी वो सारी डेटा एनालिटिक्स करी, पर वो साइबर सिक्योरिटी यू कांट क्लेम टू बी वेरी गुड एट एनी पॉइंट इन टाइम. नो एलिमेंट ऑफ नो एक्सटेंट ऑफ कंट्रोल इज गुड इनफ, राइट. तो उसमें जब वो रिस्क बार बार ऑडिटर रिपोर्ट करता है तो एक इमेज भी आता है कि मैनेजमेंट इज डूइंग नथिंग. सो वी हैव टू, तो हम लोग जनरली अब इस किस्म के केसेस में जहाँ पे मल्टीपल ऑडिट्स यू नो आइडेंटिफाई सेम रिस्क, तो हम उसमें एक डैशबोर्ड कॉन्सेप्ट लाए हैं. हम लोग डैशबोर्ड रिपोर्टिंग इस तरह करते हैं कि एक सेट ऑफ रिस्क है जिसको हम एक पेज पे ले आते हैं, डजंट रियली मैटर कि वो किस ऑडिट से आया है, और उसको फिर उसमें जो लेट्स से की एक्शन आइटम्स, एक्शनेबल आइटम्स को अलग अलग करके, और की स्टेक होल्डर्स कौन कौन वो एक्शन आइटम्स कर रहे हैं, किस टाइम तक कर रहे हैं, फिर उसको ट्रैक करना, तो एक डैशबोर्ड के तौर पे लेके चलते हैं. तो मसलन हमारी जो ऑडिट की रिपोर्टिंग में सेपरेट चलती है, और वो एक डैशबोर्ड जो एक होलिस्टिक पिक्चर दे ऑडिट कमेटी को या बोर्ड को, वो सेपरेट चलता है. तो उससे वो कंफ्यूजन का एलिमेंट है वो किसी हद तक कम होता है.
तो शायद आप जो आपने बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग पर्सपेक्टिव दिया, आपकी मेन स्ट्रीम रिपोर्टिंग चलती रहे और एक पॉइंट्स ऑफ कन्वर्जेंस बनाएं जिसपे आप मैनेजमेंट को भी और बोर्ड को भी बताएं कि इस तरह होलिस्टिकली ये आपके रिस्क्स हैं. एंड सम रिस्क यू मे नॉट बी एबल टू एड्रेस. साइबर ऐसा है कि आज आप अल्फा लगा लें, कल अल्फा प्लस हैकर आ जाएगा, कल को कुछ और हो जाएगा. सो इट्स अबाउट हाउ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज कंटिन्यूसली डूइंग दोज processes in and out, and how you are also monitoring, or second line जो भी depending on the industry उसको monitor करेगा। एक just मैं एक comment यहाँ पे जरूर दूंगा कि recently I had the privilege of talking to some of the banks, overseas banks or consultants जो digital journey में internationally help कर रहे हैं। एक चीज जो which I leave it out there for the audience वो ये है कि सबने ये बात बोली और multiple players ने ये बात बोली कि कोई भी function जो है, कोई भी institution जो है और कोई भी audit function जो है, अगर उसमें 20-30% लोग digital नहीं कर रहे purely, so you are destined to be, directionally misaligned. ठीक है? Considering 1 year in mind, considering 5 years in mind, whether it's Excel, whether it's Power BI, whether it's summation, convergence जिसकी आप बात कर रहे हैं, so it's very important out there कि यार हम इस चीज पे absolute focus करें। So with that I जी
अरमान, मैं इस पे एक बात करना चाहूंगा। मसलन पास्ट में हम अगर देखें तो सारे के सारे इंटरनल डिपार्टमेंट से फाइनेंस प्रोफेशनल्स होते थे, टेक्नोलॉजी के होते नहीं थे। अब जो आप बात करें, आपने ऐसा ऐसा टेक्नोलॉजी के लोगों को लाना शुरू किया 10 साल 12 साल पहले, कुछ लोग अभी ला रहे हैं, बहरहाल वो भी ठीक है, अच्छी बात है। अच्छा, अभी आप मिक्स की बात करते हैं, जैसे आपने 30% की बात की, लेट्स से 30% आपके टेक्नोलॉजी ऑडिटर्स होने चाहिए। क्या फ्यूचर में मैं जो देखता हूँ ना, ये डिस्कशन खत्म है। मतलब इट्स नॉट अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ मिक्स, एवरीबडी हैज टू बी टेक्नोलॉजी गाइड टू एन एक्सटेंट। जैसे आप आज किसी डॉक्टर, आप शिफा में चले जाएं तो आप कहें कि एक डॉक्टर हो जिसको कंप्यूटर ऑपरेट नहीं करना था, तो कुछ भी नहीं कर सकता, सब चीजें वो रिपोर्ट्स वहां जा रही हैं। मतलब इसी तरह से कुछ बेसिक सेट है इन टर्म्स ऑफ एनालिटिक्स हो या कोई भी हो, वो हर एक को एक जर्नी करना है। लिहाजा फ्यूचर डेटा साइंटिस्ट की ही है ज्यादा। यानी एक फाइनेंस का बंदा जिसके पास बिल्कुल डेटा एनालिटिक्स की स्किल नहीं है इन टर्म्स ऑफ यूजिंग द टूल्स, आई एम सॉरी, he or she will be
Absolutely.
in a very great difficulty। तो होता ये कि आपको पूरे ऑडिट डिपार्टमेंट को इवॉल्व करना है, उसको ग्रो करना है टुवर्ड्स यानी डेटा एनालिटिक्स और स्किल्स। हर बंदे को एक डेटा साइंटिस्ट नहीं बनना, लेकिन जो आज है उसको कंटिन्यूसली ग्रोथ करना है, ताकि वो 2 साल 3 साल में, ताकि हम 5 साल में एक्सटिंक्ट ना हो जाए।
So डेटा को मूव करना है इंफॉर्मेशन में। एंड कमिंग टू यू उमर नाउ, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग पिवट जो अभी जिस पे बात की शाहिद ने भी, कि जो अभी का हमारा कैपेसिटी, कैपेबिलिटी, स्किल सेट है, दिस इज नॉट द मॉडल फॉर द फ्यूचर, राइट? आपने अपनी पिच में कहा था जो 2 टीम कंबाइन होके ISIT आपकी नजर में ऑडिट करती हैं इंडस्ट्री में, दे कम आउट विद मच बेटर आउटपुट्स, राइट? मच बेटर एनेबलमेंट एंड इनसाइट्स। So how do you see the people side? देखिए सबसे important चीज है लोग, ठीक है? प्रोसेसेस हैं, हमने रोफ की प्रेजेंटेशन भी सुनी, सब चीजें, डेटा is important, but the people who are going to dissect that data has to do, those are the most important assets. So Umair, over to you.
जी, इसमें देखें, इसमें मल्टीपल फैक्टर्स हैं, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम एज यू हाईलाइटेड रेगुलेटर साइड से, adequacy of the level of importance which internal audit is given in any organization. अमीन साहब ने भी इसको हाईलाइट किया। इसमें जो हमारे बोर्ड्स हैं कंपनीज के, हमारी जो BACs हैं, हमारी जो लीडरशिप है, मैनेजमेंट है, they also have to play a role in that. They have to जैसे रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी के साथ साथ उनकी फैसिलिटेशन, उनकी कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग पे भी फोकस करना पड़ेगा, सपोर्ट करना पड़ेगा। जितना वेल ग्रूम्ड होंगे, शाहिद ने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि जितनी आपकी इंटरनल ऑडिट फंक्शन जितना वेल ग्रूम्ड होगा, वेल ट्रेंड होगा, लेटेस्ट ट्रेंड्स के साथ कोप अप कर पाएगा, उतनी अच्छी वो वैल्यू ऐड कर सकेंगे। ठीक है, इन हाउस कंसल्टेंट्स हम तभी बोल सकते हैं जब वो सब्जेक्ट मैटर एक्सपर्ट्स हों, when they have the adequate experience and expertise and the knowledge to give value added suggestions. अच्छा, अब इसमें हमारा अपना क्या रोल है? हमें इस प्रोफेशन को थैंक्स टू ICAP के इस तरह के इनिशिएटिव्स से एक पॉजिटिव वाइब क्रिएट हो रही है। देखें, हमें कुछ चैलेंजेस को ओपनली एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा कि बाय चॉइस बहुत कम लोग इस इंटरनल ऑडिट के प्रोफेशन में एंट्री लेते हैं या इसमें कंटिन्यू करते हैं। और ऐसा क्यों है, इन सारे इसके ये एक लंबी सेपरेट डिबेट है, बट ब्रीफली उन फैक्टर्स को हम सबको कंसिडर करना पड़ेगा। हम जितने भी सीनियर्स हैं, हम ICAP एज एन इंस्टीट्यूट, ICMAP फॉर दैट मैटर, तमाम इंस्टीट्यूशंस को, रेगुलेटर्स को अपना रोल प्ले करना पड़ेगा। फिर हर सेक्टर की अपनी रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल फोकसिंग ऑन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर, देखें most of the listed companies have implemented complex ERPs. They have, digitally transformed themselves. जो 10 साल पहले नहीं थे वो भी अब स्ट्राइव कर रहे हैं, और आप देखें आज एक मीडियम साइज एंटिटी भी एक अच्छे ERP की तरफ मूव हो रही है, बिकॉज दे नाउ आर रियलाइजिंग कि उसके बगैर सर्वाइवल नहीं है. मैं एग्जांपल दूंगा आपको अपने SAP एक्सपीरियंस की भी. मैंने जितनी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में काम किया है, मोस्टली SAP ERP एज एन ERP यूज होता है वहाँ पे, और मैंने फाइनेंस में भी काम किया, सप्लाई चेन में भी किया. आई वाज लकी इनफ टू गेट अ SAP इम्प्लीमेंटेशन एक्सपीरियंस एज वेल. While working as a head of audit, I realized, very clearly realized that those team members who are, proficient in SAP knowledge, who have good ERP knowledge, they do better versus any other person who does not have SAP knowledge. इसमें कोई second thought हो ही नहीं सकती. I think nobody will disagree to this. अब वो जमाना नहीं रहा अरमगान के हम जाएंगे ऑडिट पे, बहुत टाइम होगा, 3 महीने होंगे, एक एरिया का ऑडिट उठाएंगे, फिर क्लाइंट को, ऑडिटी को, अपने डिपार्टमेंट को लिस्ट देंगे, भाई ये डेटा दे दें. Things are moving very fast. All my team members have to be, proficient. They have to enter into their SAP ID. They have to extract the data. उस पे फिर अब एनालिसिस का काम चल कर, like Rauf said, डेटा आने के बाद असल काम तो अब शुरू होगा, और हम 50% टाइम जो है अगर डेटा गैदरिंग में और इंफॉर्मेशन गैदरिंग में स्पेंड कर देंगे तो कहाँ से वैल्यू ऐड करेंगे. सो कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग, अपनी टीम्स की नॉलेज बेस को इंक्रीज करना है. ICAP इज माशाल्लाह डूइंग गुड. हमारे जो प्रोफेशनल्स हैं आर्टिकलशिप के अंदर बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस लेके आते हैं. we all know कि हमारे जो आर्टिकल्स कंप्लीटेड रिसोर्सेज हैं, they perform much better than any other fresh resource. ठीक है, and that's the experience जो कि उनको आर्टिकलशिप में मिलता है. फिर वेबिनार्स हैं, ट्रेनिंग मटेरियल है, वो सब चीज़ें हैं. लोगों को अपने ऊपर खुद भी इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा. लोगों को अपने स्केड्यूल में से टाइम निकाल के अपने आप को अपग्रेड करना पड़ेगा, सीखनी पड़ेंगी ये चीज़ें. Recently I saw ICAP arranged Power BI पे और इस तरह के tools and techniques पे webinars और series चल रही हैं. बहुत amazing चीज़ है, और this is need of the hour.
Thank you, man. बहुत again, I like to pick up investment in oneself. This is what needs to happen. जो भी career stage पे लोग हैं जो ये webinar सुन रहे हैं या सुनेंगे, they have to understand कि something is gonna hit us. It's hitting everyone. जिस तरह शाहिद ने भी बोला, अमीन साहब ने भी बताया कि we have to realize कि change is not by choice. It's no more an option. It's basically basic hygiene. So वो बहुत important चीज़ है. Subject matter experts, and आपने बात ये की कि अगर मैं audit करूँगा 3 महीने बाद और agility नहीं होगी तो 6 महीने बाद का मैं results दूंगा तो फायदा क्या होगा उसका, right? So you brought in very important part of being agile. So thank you for that. अच्छा अमीन साहब, थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट स्टैंड आपको भी, आप एक और एलिमेंट भी जरा कवर करिएगा इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ टाइम, कि जस्ट जो हम ये कहते हैं ना कि हम खुल के बात करें यहाँ पे, और जरा सा ताकि हमें भी गाइडेंस मिले, एंड कमेटी का भी, हमारी जो इंटरनल ऑडिट की कमेटी, उसका भी मकसद ये है कि हम रेगुलेटर्स के साथ, ICAP के साथ मिलकर और स्टेक होल्डर के साथ मिलकर इंप्रूव करें. ये बताएं कि अभी करंट स्टेट इन पाकिस्तान, in this, आपका क्या टेक है कि is it a wake up call for internal audits as collectively all of us, and what is that we need to do, how will we be placed? So if on the people side you can also cover, I mean, this aspect of the discussion.
Armaghan, there are a few items I noted which Shahid and Umar just actually discussed. Yeah, first is the role of the regulator. I think SECP has done quite a good job with the current code of corporate governance and the public sector code of corporate governance. So internal audit का role तो उन्होंने बड़े अच्छे तरीके से and the chief internal auditor को define कर दिया है, audit committee को define कर दिया है for their hiring, their reporting lines, their independence, their objectivity. Now again, it will depend on the professionals and the board audit committee members that how really to implement the laws which regulator has actually laid down. सेकंड जो अभी बात हो रही थी रिगार्डिंग द इंडक्शन ऑफ द टेक्निकल पीपल इनटू द इंटरनल ऑडिट टीम. I worked with K Electric and I'm working with Sri Southern, which are two purely technical organizations. So now if I don't have engineers in within internal audit, I really can't add value. I cannot meet my objectives and I cannot add value to the bottom line or to the operations of the organization unless I have a technical people as a part of my team. They're not, I'm saying technology, but rather I'm talking about the operation, mechanical and electrical engineers. So CIAs have to look into that aspect as well. And that's why in Switzerland, we have now the management training programs or the emerging leadership programs where we take the fresh graduates, whether they are business management, they are ACCAs, they are engineers. When we take them on board, we take them as part of the internal audit as well. So ये बड़ा important aspect है कि internal auditors को accounting profession तक या technology profession तक confine नहीं कर सकते. You have to make the operations and the technical people as part of the team. Then only you can really add value. Because अब वो as शायद and उमर said कि अब हम सिर्फ audit को वहाँ तक confine नहीं कर सकते कि जी financials को audit कर लिया या purely technical audit कर लिया. We have to get into operations जहाँ पे real risks हैं. Because there are a lot of risk in the operations, there are a lot of risk in the regulatory side. So you need people who have expertise in the regulatory side as well. Like a company like Swiss Southern, which is highly regulated because the OGRA, Oil and Gas Regulatory Authority, or even NAPRA, where the cost of purchase, the prices, the losses, they all are determined by the regulator. So you need regulatory experts also as a part of the internal audit team. So now internal audit has to, in order to add value, because as I said, the positioning of the internal audit in the organization is very important. I will again reiterate that I see, when I was internal auditor, then I became the CEO. So I know the importance of the chief internal auditor. So for me personally, CIA is as good as or is equal to the COO and CFO. So उसकी acknowledgement और recognition बड़ी मुश्किल से आती है. कि क्या मैं इतनी कॉस्ट CIA पे या इंटरनल ऑडिट पे लगाने को तैयार हूं जितनी मैं बिजनेस पे और फाइनेंस टीम पे लगाने को तैयार हूं. So that realization is important, and I think the seminars like this and others where the people have to realize we have examples of the disasters also. Companies like Enron or Baring Bank or others which collapsed because of the कि टाइमली आपने रिस्क्स को एनालाइज नहीं किया और उसको वो इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं दी या इन्वेस्ट नहीं किया टू एड्रेस द रिस्क्स एंड एंड ऑफ द डे द होल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सफर्ड. सो रेगुलेटर तो अपना काम करता है, लेकिन आई थिंक प्रोफेशनल्स and the ICAP has also a very important role in this, that how they can ultimately get it implemented at the professional level.
So basically आप कह रहे हैं मीन साहब एक पॉजिटिव झटका देने की भी जरूरत है हमें अपने प्रोफेशन को भी, और realization is much more important whilst we work on the regulators, we work at the ICAP level. So realization, I think that's what even Shahid was talking about, and Umair also talked about the same thing. ठीक है. Just one more question. If Shahid, if I can pick on you. आपकी माशाल्लाह ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के आपके जो एक्सपीरियंसेस हैं, if you can share with the audience and with us some of the examples which are shareable and which can demonstrate कि जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के जो चीज़ों पे इम्प्रूवमेंट आई कैसे, as how have you used that lens of internal auditing to build out something which was valuable, right, for the organization.
जी थैंक यू. इससे पहले मैं एक छोटा सा लतीफ़ा आपको सुनाना चाहूँगा. वो जो पिछली बात हो रही थी पीपल पे है, वो हज़रत नूह अलैहिस्सलाम जो है ना कश्ती बनाते रहे, कई सौ साल वो कश्ती बनाते रहे, तो लोग उनका मजाक उड़ाते थे कि ये देखो क्या कर रहे हैं, सहरा में कश्ती बना रहा है, क्या कर रहा है, कभी आके ख़राब कर देते थे, कभी कुछ होता था. अल्टीमेटली जब स्टॉर्म आया तो कोई 100 से कम ही बंदे बचे, और लाखों की आबादी होगी, पता नहीं कितनी होगी, ठीक है ना. तो हमारी मिसाल अभी वो है, जो लोग ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन और डिजिटलाइजेशन पे बात कर रहे हैं, पर्टिकुलरली इंटरनल ऑडिट में, बाकी लोगों को तो जबरी तौर पे करनी पड़ रही है. वी हैव द लग्जरी टू स्लीप फॉर अ कपल ऑफ ईयर्स, आई गेस कपल ऑफ ईयर्स, नॉट मोर. तो लेकिन हम लोग अभी जो हमारे उससे लग्जरी है, तो जब हम बात करते हैं ना इस तरह से, मतलब हेड्स ऑफ ऑडिट बात करते हैं, तो उसमें एक और मजे की चीज़ ये होती है कि जो टीम है वो भी बड़ी हमारी तंग होती है. हमने काम अलग करना है, उसका प्रेशर अलग है, और ये जी डेटा साइंस की ट्रेनिंग्स हैं और ये है और वो है, तो मेरे ख्याल है हमारी साइड पे तो काफ़ी, मैं इस लिहाज से बड़ा पॉपुलर है, एंड पॉपुलर के यानी पुशिंग फॉर दीज ट्रेनिंग्स, फॉर दिस इन्वेस्टमेंट दैट यू नीड टू डू इन योरसेल्फ, दिस इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट। इसके बगैर सर्वाइवल हमारा नहीं है। और देयर आर सो मेनी फ्री ट्रेनिंग्स आउट देयर, रियली मैं आपको बताऊंगा, आई एम सरप्राइज्ड। मैं जब लास्ट ईयर पुश कर रहा था ये माइक्रोसॉफ्ट की फ्री डेटा साइंस ट्रेनिंग्स वगैरह, आई सरप्राइज्ड क्यों फ्री दे, तो आई थॉट कि देखिए जब गाड़ी बनी थी आज से 70 साल पहले, आप इमेजिन के गाड़ी बनाने वाली कंपनी आपको फ्री ड्राइविंग कोर्स दे, इट मेड सेंस। यू सी के आप गाड़ी चलाना सीखेंगे तो आप गाड़ी खरीदेंगे, उनकी सेल इंप्रूव। तो अगर माइक्रोसॉफ्ट और इस तरह की और कंपनीज आज आपको फ्री ट्रेनिंग्स दे रही हैं, उसकी एक वजह है, क्योंकि नीड ज्यादा डेटा साइंटिस्ट की है, जितने ज्यादा लोग अपने आप को अपग्रेड करेंगे उनका प्रोडक्ट भी बिकेगा, लेकिन नीड है, जो नहीं करेंगे वो पीछे रह जाएंगे। अच्छा, कमिंग बैक टू द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन जो क्वेश्चन आपने कहा, जी मेरे ख्याल है पहले भी अमीन साहब ने भी पोजीशनिंग की बात की कि द इंटरनल ऑडिट फंक्शन हैज टू पोजीशन इटसेल्फ इन द राइट प्लेस, CIAs नहीं होते नॉर्मली क्या। हुआ ये हमारी साइड पे when I took over, तो I had two verticals reporting to me, UPhone and PTCL Internal Function. Both were doing very good. लेकिन I needed more resources to pull up changes that I wanted. तो हुआ ये कि पहले कुछ अरसा तो मैं खुद करता रहा, लेकिन प्लान था यानी लास्ट ईयर फरवरी में I put up a plan in front of the audit committee कि जी I am pulling up these resources, I am merging both the company's audit functions, UPhone and internal audit, and the synergy that I'm bringing in, उससे मैं इतना स्टाफ निकाल रहा and I'm creating a third function which is the transformation function, ठीक है ना। लेकिन मैंने सिर्फ ये लफाजी नहीं की, there was a transformation plan for the next 2 years. We have 20+ deliverables, छोटे बड़े सब मिला के जो भी आपके हैं, ठीक है ना, अचानक बटन दबाने से नहीं होती आपको। तो वो that was approved by the audit committee, and then the last whole year, every quarter, in addition to my, let's say, quarterly report or annual report, I was giving them a transformation update कि मैंने जो डिलीवरी आपको बताए थे क्वार्टर वाइज, उन पे ये काम हो रहा है अभी तक, ठीक है ना। तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह उनको प्लान भी पहले पसंद आया था, बाद में भी। तो सो वी हैव अ रिस्पांसिबिलिटी टू डिलीवर ऑन दिस साइड, वो सिर्फ बात करने से नहीं होगा। ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन, अच्छा फंक्शन बनाने का मैंने जैसे करा था कि अकेले बंदे के लिए एक चेंज पुल आउट करना बहुत मुश्किल है, वेरी ऑनेस्टली। यानी आपने इतनी चीजें करनी होती हैं, आप एक चेंज करते हैं, जिन लोगों के थ्रू कर रहे होते हैं वो भी बेचारे कहते हैं यार हमने ये ऑडिट से डिलीवर करने हैं, साथ में आपने ये भी दे दिया ये भी दे दिया, तो वो चीज उससे डिलीवर नहीं हो पाती। सो दैट इज व्हाई आई एक्चुअली पुल्ड आउट दोज रिसोर्सेज एंड क्रिएटेड द ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन फंक्शन। और उसको फिर हमने काफी सारे, वी हैव अ यानी रीजनेबल साइज ऑफ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन फंक्शन, और उसमें हमने उनको और भी चीजें दी है। यानी फॉर एग्जांपल कंप्लायंस साइड, ideally compliance should not be a part of internal audit, right? मतलब मैं investigations की बात कर रहा हूँ, forensics. So I pulled out all the investigations from my audit team ताकि उनकी independence भी रहे, और वो हमने इनको दे दिया। तो इस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एंड कंप्लायंस हमें जिस तरह सूट करता था। फिर वो जो टीम की एंगेजमेंट्स हैं, ट्रेनिंग्स है, इवन हमारी जो रिपोर्टिंग्स है, नॉट द ऑडिट रिपोर्ट, क्वार्टरली रिपोर्ट्स हैं, एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स हैं, जितनी ऐसी डिफरेंट चीजें होती हैं, यानी एडवाइजरी विद टू समबडी, तो काफी सारी चीजें हैं जो ये फंक्शंस करते हैं। तो इट हैज बीन अ वंडरफुल एक्सपीरियंस। कंटिन्यूस ऑडिटिंग भी हमने इनको दी हुई है, लेकिन जाहिर है कंटिन्यूस ऑडिटिंग भी एक डिफिकल्ट जॉब है, उसमें हमने एक डुअल रोल रखा हुआ है। मसलन जो ऑडिटिंग वर्टिकल्स हैं टेक्नोलॉजी ऑडिट के, और जो मतलब फाइनेंस एंड ऑपरेशन वर्टिकल्स हैं, देयर जॉब इज टू पुश कंटिन्यूस ऑडिटिंग प्रोजेक्ट्स to the transformation side, and the transformation side pulls, क्योंकि जब मैंने पुल करके पूरा ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन को दे दिया था तो वो उस तरह हो नहीं पा रहा था। तो पुश में ये आइडिया है कि जो लोग ऑडिट्स कर रहे हैं, I want some of their audits to vanish in the next cycle, either the audit or some audit procedures. तो continuous, so what processes in the audit, audit can be automated in a way कि next time मुझे ये step ना करना पड़े, वो चीजें हमने continuous auditing में डाल दी। वो फिर ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन चीज उसको पुल करती है और वो उसको ऑटोमेट करती है।
So what you're saying is basically in the interest of time कि इसको evolve करना है, जो existing हमारी है उसको automate use करके उनको BAU बनाना है, और नए रिस्क पे, नए ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन एफर्ट्स पे काम करना है, ठीक है। So I think that's again in the interest of time, this discussion honestly can go on for a few hours, but we are restricted with time. So I can ask the team if there are any questions which they would like to put out for the panelists here from the discussion. So we have some little time, we can take a few quick questions. Acha ji, So this is about perception के जो perception है of the internal audit in terms of underestimating, right? So Amin sir, a quick answer to this, please.
I think it's a matter of realization. Unless and until the board realize the importance of internal audit, they cannot really invest into this. हमने इस पे काफी बात की and positioning की जो बात की कि internal audit की importance जो है उसकी realization from the risk control and perspective, they have to give the importance to this a very important aspect of internal audit. That they and I think positions is very important. उसको किसी भी तरह अंडर वैल्यू नहीं करना चाहिए, अंडर एस्टिमेट नहीं करना चाहिए, अंडर रेट नहीं करना चाहिए. एंड जिस तरह मैंने बार बार कहा कि फ्रॉम दी दे आर एज गुड एज इफ यू कंपेयर विद दी operations and the finance. So it all depends on the board how they take it. Actually, it's board of directors are very important in making decisions from this perspective.
Absolutely. जी, next question. अच्छा, ये सवाल थोड़ा सा I think it's directed towards what is the institute doing to provide support in terms of creating awareness. So हिना आप भी हैं यहाँ पे, if you can, or I can answer this question to you.
जी, please go ahead.
जी, इसमें देखें जो अभी हमने एक कमेटी है हमारी जो हिना लीड करती हैं, इसका एक सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट इंग्रेडिएंट ये है कि हमने ऑल लेवल्स पे रेगुलेटर्स के साथ और प्रोफेशंस के एलिमेंट्स के साथ जो प्रोफेशनल्स की हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, वी हैव टू एलिवेट इट थ्रू स्टैंडर्ड सेटिंग, through even encouragement by the regulators of creating some level playing rules, and also reaching out to those regulators where we can do some right interventions which can help those industries and give better assurance to the regulator. So yeah, I think, and as well as a very important piece is cultivating the efforts of enabling this newer internal auditing or better internal auditing and the future it has. Honestly, we collectively as you know, colleagues or internal audit professionals, we feel that the time is right for us to make that quantum leap. बोलें आप उसको कुछ भी बोलें जिसमें we have talked about finance, we have talked at a historic view which we used to have in the country about tax. देखिए पिछले 10-15 साल में कितना focus है. Now it's time for internal audit to take that jump, and inshallah the institute will continue to play this role, and you will see it in coming months. जी, इसमें उमैर, if you can talk about the investments and keeping individuals up to date.
See, we always talk about, you know, capacity building and, you know, investment in the right direction. मैं ये समझता हूँ कि investing in digital tools and, you know, capacity building is inevitable. It's not like a luxury these days. Yeah, nice to have cheese, nahi, a must have cheese hai. And you know, people who will not invest now, you know, will have to either invest in multiple times, or they will, you know, probably will have no need to invest because they won't survive this situation. So it's good that if, as mentioned, PwC is investing on AI. You know, businesses in Pakistan are also, they have also started realizing this need, and they are investing. And similarly, it goes, you know, valid for the internal audit function as well. And as the audit heads, it's our responsibility to pitch it properly and get it, you know, approved and then deliver on the results as well.
दो तीन काम और भी हैं, just to add, your answer is absolutely right. We have to work with educational institutions as well. So recently, in the last 12 months, we have reached out to many institutions, and there are many forums to it, through ICAP offices, through banks, where we are talking with institutions to providing to the needs of the future, the needs of where we need AI, where we need. So I think those formal and informal forums have to get it to a better industrialized state. जिस तरह हम जो हमारी PBA पाकिस्तान बैंकिंग एसोसिएशन का जो इंटरनल ऑडिट ग्रुप है, हम उसमें भी इसी तरह की इनिशिएटिव्स ट्रेनिंग की बात कर रहे हैं, and we will inshallah go to the unis as well. अच्छा जी, this question, अच्छा ये this is more I would say reliance on the work of internal audit, if it is being placed And again, I think it's a typical question. Shahid, if you want to take this one.
What is the question?
क्वेश्चन इज के इंटरनल ऑडिट के काम पे रिलायंस हो रही है एक्सटर्नल ऑडिट की, तो इसमें कोई मसला है और इसमें इज देयर अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, और इफ आई रीड इट राइट, और इज देयर एनीथिंग हाउ कैन दिस बी बेटर इनेबल्ड?
देखिए, बात ये कि गोइंग फॉरवर्ड ना, ऑल द एश्योरेंस फंक्शंस हैव टू वर्क टुगेदर. इसमें दिस इट्स नॉट अ मैटर ऑफ चॉइस. एक्सटर्नल ऑडिट, इंटरनल ऑडिट, दीज आर डिफरेंट लाइंस ऑफ डिफेंस. सबसे पहले ऑपरेशंस आता है, फिर सेकंड लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस आता है, ERM हो गए, सॉक्स हो गए, व्हाटएवर. फिर थर्ड लाइन पे हम लोग आते हैं, इंटरनल ऑडिटर्स. फोर्थ लाइन पे एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटर आता है. तो वी हैव टू वर्क टुगेदर. इवन अगर इफ द थर्ड लाइन इज नॉट स्पीकिंग टू द सेकंड लाइन, दिस इज नॉट द बेस्ट कल्चर. तो ये इसमें नो वरी तो बात ही नहीं है, ये तो करना ही करना है. कैसे होगा, कितना होगा, आप क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर करें, इसके मॉडल्स बनने चाहिए और हमें आगे इस पे बढ़ना चाहिए. एक इस पे इसी से कनेक्टेड बात मैं ये करूंगा, हमारी काम पे रिलायंस मैनेजमेंट भी करती है. बेसिकली प्रोडक्ट्स की बात है कि आप क्या क्या प्रोडक्ट्स देते हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, आप एक इन्वेस्टिगेशन एक प्रोडक्ट दे रहे हैं, आपका दूसरा प्रोडक्ट ऑडिट है, तीसरा प्रोडक्ट आपका कंसल्टिंग है. तो अब कोशिश ये होनी चाहिए कि आप इन्वेस्टिगेशन से ऑडिट की तरफ, ऑडिट से कंसल्टिंग की तरफ जाएं. लेकिन इसके लिए आपको स्किल सेट चाहिए कि आप ऐसी क्या कंसल्टिंग ऑफर कर देंगे कि जो मैनेजमेंट खुद नहीं कर सकती अपनी सारे रिसोर्सेज से. तो इस तरह से बहरहाल एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटर तो सिर्फ ऑडिट की हद तक रिलायंस करता है, लेकिन मैनेजमेंट की अपनी जो डिपेंडेंस है काफी बढ़ती जा रही है. और ये डेटा एनालिटिक्स की जो हमने बात की सारे फोरम पे, वो चीज है जो आपको ये कंसल्टिंग कैपेबिलिटी देती है.
Jay Chai, thank you for your insights. I'll quickly answer two, and then I'll move on to the final session where Tahir is patiently waiting for us to do the concluding remarks. दो सवालात हैं. एक तो है कि can audit be part of policy making? Audit can make its own charter. Audit can develop its own policy affecting audit, but it cannot be part of policy setting at the organization level. Yes, it can always provide its own observations कि यार ये इस policy बना रहे हैं तो ये चीजों का ख्याल रख लीजिएगा as an observer, as an advisor. दूसरा सवाल है कि आप back office से इसको आगे कैसे लेके आएं. So I think that's from Nawaz. The answer is yes, all what we have talked about. This is the core how we energize internal audit, how we energize ourselves. ये देखिए अगेन बार बार हम ये सब बात कर रहे हैं कि ये सवाल इसका नहीं है कि हमारे पास ऑप्शन है, ये हमें सब कुछ करना है. इसी से हम पहले इंशाल्लाह सेकंड लाइन में आएंगे, एंड वी वुड फाइंड अ सीट ऑन द टेबल एज लॉन्ग एज we say and do the right things and bring the right value proposition for our managements and boards. So with that, thank you very much. I think I've really enjoyed the discussion so far, but again running out of time.
Armagan, just one point I want to just summarize. I think the most important thing in one liner, if we want to say to our audience, is the most important thing is we need to create value for the organization. जहाँ पे भी आप वैल्यू क्रिएट करेंगे, ऑटोमेटिकली उसका माइंडसेट, हर कोई आपकी एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी जो है ना वो आपकी मान लेगा. कहीं पे भी माइंडसेट इशू नहीं रहेगा. यू नीड टू क्रिएट वैल्यू, यू नीड टू क्रिएट वैल्यू इफ यू आर वर्किंग एज एन इंटरनल ऑडिटर या आप उसकी प्रोफेशनल सर्विस दे रहे हैं, आपको ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए वैल्यू क्रिएट करनी है. दैट इज द सिंगल मोटो. अगर आप फॉलो करें, आई थिंक यू विल बी सक्सेसफुल. थैंक यू.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you very much for your contribution. So I would like to thank all the panelists for sharing their insights. MashaAllah, very well-rounded, multi-industrial and sector perspective people with a lot of auditing, non-auditing, and we have MashaAllah Amin Saab, who has been the top of the pyramid as well. So thank you very much for sparing this time and sharing your thoughts with us today, and I'm sure we had a very healthy attendance, and that's continuing as we speak. So I'd like to thank and conclude. My concluding note today is from Tahir Sharif, again a fellow chartered accountant, a partner in PwC Ferguson's, have been my peer. And he's doing lots of bits sitting on the other side, as well as he has heard our conversation. So bringing in the consulting perspective and to conclude the discussion today. So Tahir, can you hear us, Tahir? Tahir, you there? आवाज आ रही है ताहिर आपको?
I think he's on mute.
He's on mute.
जी मुझे आपकी आवाज आ रही. Thank you very much, Mogan, and everybody else and all the participants of the session. It's a very great session. A very good opportunity to hear from the Interlot gurus such as Amin Rajput and other colleagues Shahid and Umair Bhatti, and of course yourself. I would just like to elaborate on some of the matters like what Amin said, that one of the perception regarding Interlot is that you don't get at the seat at the table, management table. But if you look at the career path of Amin, you would see that this career has actually evolved from a junior Interlot role to the head of one of the biggest public sector organization. So I would like to highlight to my Interlot colleagues that it's resilience, it's perseverance, it's hard work, and the perspective which Interlot function has, as an Interlot head has of the overall organization, that will provide you an opportunity to grow, not even at the role of Interlot, but even to the level of managing director. So that is the benefit of having this role of Interlot is. Coming back to the topic which we have on hand regarding Interlot transformation in the digitalization age, as Hina rightly said a while back, that we are in the business of giving value. What is the value we provide to our customers? What is the value we provide to our stakeholders? So if you want to add value, you can't stay away from what is happening in the organization you're providing service to. So if the digitalization is on the agenda of the organization or automation is there, you have to embrace it and work according to what the organization is doing. If you're not able to grasp or embrace the technology, the automation, the digitalization changes, and not able to upskill yourself or get the right technology in place, you'll not be I would say relevant for the organization. Because if you're not able to add value, if you're not able to provide the right value or the right advice or the right strategic advice at the right time, or highlight the emerging risks. If you're going for a digitalization, there are a lot of emerging risks which might be arising. And if you don't highlight those risks at the right point in time, you will not add value. At one point in time, you will lose your position in the organization. So in order to ensure that you have an effective internal audit function, we need to see that we are there to provide value. We adapt the change. We are there with the organization when the organization is doing the transformation for digitalization. Embrace the change, upskill our skill set. Whatever trainings we require, whatever technology we require, we need to work on that. Otherwise, if we are not able to highlight the changes and the risks which arise due to digitalization, and do not highlight the ways or recommend what needs to be done by the management to overcome those risks, ultimately, we will not be relevant for the organization because we will not be adding any value for that organization. So I think there's a lot of learning through this last session which has taken place. I, on behalf of IBTC committee, would like to thank you, all the participants, whether you're on Zoom session or whether you're on Facebook. It's very good to see you. And also like to highlight some of the things highlighted by Rauf Ali Jan regarding the data analytics side, the tools he's highlighted. I think that was very informative and very knowledgeable, and I'm sure he'll be happy to take a lot of questions on that, even separately if you can contact him also. But I would like to thank Rauf. I would like to thank Shahid. I would like to thank Umair Bhatti. I would like to especially thank Amin Rajput, who has provided us that incentive and actually made us realize that Interloters can go to the top roles because of his knowledge. Plus, but we need to keep in mind that you need to also work on other areas of such as he's worked on Six Sigma. Maybe you can go for certified Interloter. You can go for certified fraud examiner. Upskill yourself. Need to have more knowledge, more experience, so that you're able to add value and make more changes for the organization. So plus, I would like to thank Al-Mogan, who has asked a number of good questions. I'm not sure that the panelists will be happy for all of those questions, but he makes an effort to bring out the best in everybody. So the good thing is I am the closing boss, so he's not going to ask me any questions, I'm sure. So I'm happy for that. But I'm happy to take questions. But I would just like to add, that I run one of the biggest employer practice from a firm perspective. I'm the employer head of the firm also. I look after the employer practice of a number of listed companies, and I feel that the change is there. We have to embrace the change, and that is the only way. Otherwise, we will not be relevant, and we will not be able to grow and get the right positioning for the employment function. I would like to thank you, the members of the IPTC committee. Hina is there, and Al-Moghan, and all the other members who are there in the committee who have made a lot of efforts to this. Especially, I also like to highlight the efforts put in by some of the committee members of the IPTC committee who organizes all of these sessions. I would like to thank them, especially on behalf of IPTC. I would like to thank the organizing committee team, which are Mahwish Ghani, Amir Shreeb, and Shreeb Akhtar, without whose help, I'm not sure that this session would have been possible. And thanks to all of you, and also to Rauf Ali Jan, Amir Shaukat, who have worked a lot for this session. And as a closing, I would like to encourage all of you to inculcate the learning from the discussions we had and actually upskill yourself, because that is the only way we are going to have a good position in any organization. Thanks to everyone and all the participants. And inshallah, see you in the next webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tahir. And with that,
Thank you, Tahir. Thank you, everyone.
Last but not least, Mahwish has also played a very strong role. All this committee has worked very hard. And thank you very much, and good evening. And
thank you, Mahwish. Thank you, Mahwish. Thank you.
Thank you,
Allah
everyone.
Hafiz.
Well done.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.